What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Limited Resources. This is episode number 866. My name is Marshall. I'm one of your Limited Resources, and joining me on the line all the way from Denver, Colorado, it's Luis Scott-Vargas. Luis, Hobbit, it is upon us. I've done a couple of drafts.
Unfortunately, so have I.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's hard to, we'll do our full. I got to give it a few more than 3 drafts or whatever I've done, but it's a little flat, maybe. I'm always stuck on sets like this because on one hand, I really like a core set feel, and that is what this set has felt like so far. And I really like the idea of having a set like this every once in a while that can be an entry point for a new limited player. Some of the sets that we love, I think about if it were my first draft set ever, and I just go, oh God, I might have just gotten overwhelmed and not even bothered after doing one draft. Where a set like this that's much more accessible, it has the kind of themes that Magic is known for, and the cards are a little bit more towards the simple end of things, is something that I normally would welcome, but it does feel a little flat.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, well, exactly like you said, I'm going to play it some more and kind of see how it feels. But my first outings were, again, a little flat.
Yeah, I think the bigger picture thing that we'll talk about, not on this episode, but as we move forward, this will be our third of these small limited sets.
Yeah.
Right. We had, the disastrous Spider-Man and the pretty good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then this is the third one. And I think that after 3, we can start to form a more solid opinion about what we think about where that's going. Because we know what we think about the prior sets, and we'll have an opinion on this one. But to me, that's one of the big picture things. Are they going to keep doing this? Are we going to keep getting 7 sets a year? Are we going to, that are draftable and that whole thing? But in the meantime, we have business to attend to because we are not done with our set review for this exact set. We are going to finish with our rare and mythic rare review. Today, we're going to go over each and every rare and mythic rare in The Hobbit to figure out which one are the bombs and which ones maybe you should avoid. Or maybe if we get some cool build-arounds, one of the things that suffers on small sets are build-around cards. It's hard to find room for those. But sometimes at the rare or mythic slot, they'll carve out a spot or two for some build-arounds. So maybe that's where we could find those as well. Before we get into those, we wanted to say thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/limited resources. It's just a place that you can support your favorite content creators directly. And we've been with Patreon for a long time and really appreciate that they exist in this world because it makes shows like ours possible. And we, again, want to say thank you to everybody who supports us there. Also, Ultimate Card. They support the show for quite a while now, and we love them. They make the best stuff in the business. If you need sleeves, the katanas are so nice. Playmats, deck boxes. What's that?
Said the katanas are really buttery smooth.
They really are.
All events.
Yeah, they're also known for being really good on durability. People talk. There's a few different brands that are kind of the top ones for durability. Dragon Shields are definitely up there as well. But I found that the katanas are the best mix of durability plus feel. I absolutely love those things. I found myself at a game store just the other day. In fact, it was the Mox Boarding House here in Seattle, one of the best game stores in the country. And I was going to do some sealed, and I didn't have any. I normally have like a little box that I'll have with me if I'm going to play that has some sleeves and dice and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't have it with me. And so I was like, well, I'm going to buy me some katanas. I got me some green ones. And man, they are really, really nice. Anyway, those are just the sleeves. They also make playmats, deck boxes, long boxes, backpacks, binders, all that type of stuff to protect your cards and your collection. It's really important that you do so. Of course, these cards are valuable. And if you ever want to sell them or trade them or move them on, you're going to want to have them be in the best condition possible. And it also means you get to play with them for a long time. And that requires a combination of premium materials plus really well thought out design. And that's what Ultimate Guard brings to the table. If you want to see their full line of products, you can go to ultimateguard.com and you can buy them like I did at my favorite local game store or at your favorite online retailer. Thank you, Ultimate Guard. We do appreciate it. Luis, we went over the mechanics and archetypes in the last episode, but grading scale, we're still going to be giving these cards grades, and it's going to be a little different, than the commons and uncommons typically.
Yeah, so we use a letter grade grading scale with 2 additional subgrades. So starting with A's, these are the bombs, the game winners, the cards that are good in many situations, especially when behind, best cards in the set. We're going to see a lot of A's in the Rare and Mythic review. Cards like the Superhero Civil War or Captain Marvel. Bs are cards that actively pull you towards their colors, or in this case, color pair. Often headliners for the set, go-to cards, and reasons to be in that color pair. So we're talking the kind of like good to great commons and good uncommons. Some of the best uncommons creep up into the A territory. But for this review, we're going to see a decent amount of these. We're cards like Hero in Training or Trickster Stratagem, kind of the top end of the not bomb playables. Cs, well, these are the playables. These are the Pawns of Limited. You're not going to find a ton of Cs in the Rare and Mythic review. We'll find some, of course, but rares tend to cluster on either end. We're talking cards like Brave Brawler or Hour of Defeat. Ds are the cards you're pretty unhappy if you have to run. They're playable. Almost every card is just about in these sets these days. But Ds are cards where you look at them and you're a little unhappy. Mediocre, junky, maybe a little situational, or a high setup cost. Cards like Atlantean Cavalry or Repulsor Blast. And then Fs, we'll see plenty of Fs here. These are cards that are just straight up unplayable and limited. They cost a ton of mana. They refer to card types like Planeswalkers that aren't, typical and limited. They're really convoluted build-arounds that just don't really function. We're talking cards like Show and Tell or Horn of Greed, right? You just never put those cards in your deck. The two subgrades are sideboard. Not a ton of those in the Rare and Mythic review either, but, there are some. And so cards like that you wouldn't play in your main deck, but out of the sideboard can do something good. And there's build around. These are cards that we will find a decent amount of. Oh, sorry. A sideboard card is like Heroic Intervention or a Disenchant. Build arounds, you see a lot of these in the Rare review because these are the cards that by themselves don't do that much. But if you properly build around them, they can be among the best cards in your deck. Cards like Vision Quest.
Yeah, and we really are hoping to see a few of those in this Rare and Mythic Rare because this set needs them. Pretty bad. One of the big knocks that we have on these small sets is that there's a lot less design space for things like that. And this is the one place where maybe they'll get to do it. So we're going to start with red. That's what we started with on the commons and uncommons outside of the signposts. And we like to switch which color we start with each time and move it through in Wooburg. And we are on red. So our first card up is Last Light of Durin's Day. This is one in a red for an enchantment at rare. And it says, whenever a mountain you control enters, put a quest counter on this enchantment. If it has 6 or more quest counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do, search your hand and or library for a dragon card and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle. And this is kind of the key to this card. It also has mountain cycling itself. So for 2 mana, you can discard it from your hand and search your library for a mountain and put it in your hand. 6?
The key to this card is being a little generous. Yeah, this card is just, I think, an F. Like,
yeah,
spending 2 mana to go get a mountain isn't good, especially since when you play this, you would not only have to play 6 mountains, not any lands, just 6 mountains specifically. You have to have 6 of them in play. And you do get to go get a dragon, but you have to have a dragon. So
wait, and you have to play them. So you actually have to have 6 more mountains than the 2
mountains,
mana.
Actually, I guess that's true. Yeah,
8. I mean, this is like crazy. So it's mono red only, and even then, that's just too slow, right? Because like we tend to think of things. If you think about how land drops work in limited, the probability that you hit your first land drop is effectively certain, right? And then your second land drop is almost always certain. Your third land drop starts to fall off pretty quickly. Fourth and fifth, they're all in this reasonable range, right? That you'll hit them on the 4th, 5th turn of the game. When you get to the 6th land drop, that one is not certain at all. In fact, you're less likely than you would be normally to hit that on your 6th turn. And the gap gets bigger and bigger as you go through. We're talking about 6 mountains after you've already got 2 lands in play here. So we're talking about 8 lands and 6 in a row mountains. So let's just assume that you're mono red. That's 8 mountains. That means you have to hit your 8th land drop. The gap between 6 and 7 and 7 and 8 is like 1.5 turns and then like 2 more turns until you get to 8 on average. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, this thing's way too hard to get to pop off.
Yeah, I think that
wow,
this is just a straight up F, and well, we won't be playing that one.
Luis, did we get what we asked for? I wanted a build around. I mean, I guess I got one, but wasn't really what I was hoping for. Next card up is, how do you say this? Dane, maybe? I don't know. Ironfoot. This is 2 in a red for a 1/4 legendary dwarf warrior at rare. And when Diane enters, create a colorless equipment artifact token named Axe. Equip creature gets +1/+0 and equip 2. And when you do, attach it to target creature you control. And then it says, whenever Diane attacks, each equipped attacking creature gains double strike until end of turn. That's actually pretty good, huh? I mean, especially, the meaty center to this thing is that you get that equipped for free. That first one.
Yeah, so you get to play this, immediately put it on your 2-drop. Mm-hmm. And then next turn when this attacks, that thing has double strike. Though this is just a 1/4 at that point.
It is
still pretty good.
4 toughness, yeah. And you can put it on this, right?
Yes, you can also choose to do that for sure.
And just then this attack with the 2/4
as a 4/4.
Yeah, like a 4/4 for 3, and the axe is around if it dies, or neither side of this is really exciting. But I think if you put them together, you've got a playable here.
Yeah, I would say Dane just looks like a B to me. Very solid card.
Yeah, that like it. But I mean, I'll be honest. If you told me that was an uncommon, I would totally believe you. Totally. But anyway, next is Gandalf Goblin's Bane, red Gandalf, 2 and a red for a legendary Avatar wizard at Mythic rare, and Gandalf Goblin's Bane is a 2/3, and it says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Gandalf gets +1/+1 until end of turn and deals 1 damage to each opponent. And he's also an adventure creature. He's got Flame Shape, which is a sorcery adventure for 1 and a red that says, look at the top 2 cards of your library and exile them face down. For as long as they remain exiled, you may play them if you control a wizard, which of course Gandalf is.
So
cool.
3 mana, 2/3, and it kind of has like the VV text minus all the broken stuff. Whenever you cast a non-creature, you ping them for 1. Yeah. It gets ++1, not a counter. Doesn't have a bunch of mana. But, how much are we liking that? 3 mana, 2/3, and it does a little pinging and gets a temporary buff when you play a spell.
Yeah,
okay.
CC plus or something.
Fine, yeah. And then, but it's also 2 mana, exile them both, and you can play them both as long as you have a wizard. So what you want to often do with Flame Shape is you Flame Shape, see how important the cards are, and then try to maybe set up a turn where you go let's say you hit a land in a good spell, you go Gandalf, play the land, play the spell, because what you don't want is these cards stuck if you go turn 2 Flame Shape, hit a bomb 4-drop, turn 3 Gandalf, and then just they kill the Gandalf. Any other wizard can also rescue them. It doesn't require specifically Gandalf, but I imagine, especially given how rare wizards are in the actual Hobbit, you're not looking at tons and tons of wizards here.
Yeah, I'll look it up real quick and see how many wizards there actually are in the set, because I am curious about that. As you said, there's only 4, and this Gandalf is one of them. There's 2 other Gandalfs, and then there's Radagast, which is also a rare. So there's a common, uncommon, rare, and mythic rare. So that's not really a thing. It is exactly what you said, Luis. You need to set it up so that this card is the one that's doing it. And like you said, in my mind, if I can get one of the cards cast and then kind of free roll on the other, but still have my creature on the battlefield, I'm fine with that. That's a fine exchange. They did make this card a little bit too good for your opponent to ignore, right? It would have been funny if this was a 1/1 or something. You know what I mean? Where they're well, I don't really want to use my removal spell on a 1/1, but I'm going to cut you off of this other card, so I'll do it. This card is yeah, sure, I'll use my removal spell to kill this all day long. That said, I mean, this has the potential to be a 3-for-1, and it doesn't ask you that much, especially if you're willing to, not eat the marshmallow and delay gratification until you can get the Gandalf down, and then, like you said, ideally land spell. You got all your value out of it. I also wouldn't be surprised if just getting the land off of it is considered pretty good. You play this on 2, you play something else on 3, and then on 4 you play this plus the land. That's all non-interactable from your opponent mostly. Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, this is more
Not a bomb.
Like a B-level card than a mythic bomb,
right.
For sure. But it's still a card. I mean, you're never going to cut from your deck if you're playing red,
right?
And you frequently would take in the first couple picks. I would say a B. Yeah,
B for Gandalf Goblin's Bane. Next up is the Misty Mountains Cold. This is a saga. It's a rare enchantment saga. It's 2 and a red, so it's 3 mana. And this saga has 4 chapters, and this is kind of interesting. They're all the same. So the chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 all say create a treasure token. Then, if you control 4 or more treasure tokens, sacrifice this saga. If you do, create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. That's pretty slow. Assuming that this is your only source of treasure.
Next turn get a treasure, next turn get a treasure, next turn get a treasure, and then you get a dragon.
And that's only if you don't spend any of the treasure.
Yeah. But
or
so
if
it's
you
like
have other treasure.
It's 3 mana basically suspend 3, get a dragon, where on if you cast this on turn 3, you get it on like turn 6, right?
Yes.
Turn 3, and then turn 4, turn 5, turn 6.
Yes.
And the dragon can't even attack at that point.
No.
So if you have other treasures, this does, like, let's say you had 2 treasures in play, you play this, and then on the second time it triggers, you could get the dragon.
That's true.
It is nice that it doesn't eat the treasures.
It does not.
So you get to, kind of get the benefit of both. Like the treasures and the dragon. I think this card looks pretty weak.
I do too.
But I think that if you had a bunch of treasures, I guess, see maybe this is like kind of enhancing them, but I still
trying to get it a turn sooner.
Yeah, it still doesn't seem very good though.
I think it's hard. Yeah. I mean, here's a setup for you, Luis. If I said, okay, Luis, you've never seen this card before. And I said, here's a card for Modern Era Limited. It costs 3 mana. And if you want to maximize it, it does nothing. The turn it enters, the next turn after that, and the next turn after that, nothing happens. Then the turn after that, you get something pretty dang good, like a rare level effect, let's say. I would have a hard time getting on board with that. So then if I twisted it a little and I said, okay, I lied a little bit. It doesn't do nothing. It does give you incremental advantage, but you can't use it. If you use it, then you issue that big payoff at the end for the most part. Well, then you're like, so now I'm paying 3 mana to get like a little mana bump a couple of times. Neither of these are particularly enticing. I do like the idea of building around it to get a couple of extra treasures, to get an earlier one. I really like that you do get the treasures. It lets you, even if it does pop off at the end, you get to keep them. I kind of like the idea of, okay, fine, I took turn 3 off and I'm just going to ignore this thing for the next 3 turns. But man, it feels like one well-timed removal spell, a decent blocker, any type of stabilization effect. And when you do get to that turn 6, it's going to be gross. I mean, you get a 6/6 that just hits the battlefield, and then you get a bump, and then you have 4 extra mana that turn to do whatever you want. Like if your deck has the ability to come back, you're going to be in a really good shape. So far in this set, I would feel really uncomfortable playing a card that just didn't really do anything for that long, though. I think that is too big of a knock to make this like a really great card. I think it's kind of an interesting card. I would start off low on it. I think I would give it like, oh God, I just can't imagine. I
mean, this has to be like a D, right? D? Maybe I wouldn't go so far as to give it an F for a lot of the reasons that you said, but it's not a good card.
No, I don't think so either. It's just too slow. How many games have you played where if your opponent played this on 3, you're like, fantastic. There's too many.
Right. This is also a fast format. We've already seen that.
It is.
So
you do not have a lot of time. Removal's good. The threats are good. Next up is Desolation of Smaug. I like saying it like that. Sometimes they say it on the thing. Or Smog, some people say. 2 red for a sorcery at rare. And it says Desolation of Smaug deals 3 damage to each non-dragon creature and add 4 mana in any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast dragon spells. Wow, that artwork.
I would play this card without having any dragons. Obviously, like it's just a great card if you're not the person putting all the aggressive creatures into play, which often you will be. Like if you're playing red black, for example. But when you have the card, you get to set it up. You're the one who gets to try to figure out, like, okay, I know it's sweeper deal 3 is coming. I can not deploy my extra 3/3 or play like a 2/4 or trade my 2/2/2s for their 4/4. Knowing this is going to happen.
Exactly.
Especially given a fast format where people are trying to curve out. Yeah, Desolation of Smaug looks like a B to me.
It does to me too.
Sometimes you will get lucky and get to do the play this, play a dragon after. that will happen. And it's going to feel great.
Yeah, it is funny. There's only 4 dragons in this set, and they all have 5 toughness except for one of them that we're going to talk about in a minute. So the extra dragon text isn't really for limited. Next up is Getaway Barrel. This is 3 and a red for an artifact at rare. It says when this artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, reveal the top 13 cards of your library. Put a random creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Well, what's the joke with it? Like, that's cool, but like, what's the 13?
I mean, it's you remember when the dwarves escaped the Elven King by hiding in the barrels? That's like that scene. They're going down the river and all that.
And so one of them,
Bilbo was the one who put them all in there.
Pops out.
And then he says, that's why he's like, I do put the lids on tight enough because he could sneak out with the One Ring. And he like jumped in and grabbed it. And so you play this, you reveal the top 13 cards, but you're not milled, luckily. And then you put a random creature among them onto the battlefield. So it's random. You don't get to choose.
No.
So here's the upside. Red Black has some good sack stuff, like the common 1 mana sack, an artifact or creature to destroy target creature, that sort of thing. And when you play this and you sack it and you get a free creature, free in quotes, you spent 4 mana, you get some of that mana back because you got a creature out of it. And of course you got to sacrifice something, which has like a bit of intrinsic value. The problem is random. Like you're just gonna get a 2-drop or a 3-drop a lot of the time.
I don't even know if I would like this card if it was choose one of them. Like 13 cards, like 5 or 6 of them are going to be lands. One of them might be a spell. So you've got like 4 or 5 creatures. 2 or 3 are probably going to cost 2 or 3 mana. You're just begging to hit a 5 or a 6 drop or your bomb or whatever with this. You could see a lot of cards, but even then I'm not like thrilled. And now you're telling me it's random and I might just hit my 2-drop or whatever. And I've done all this stuff to make this thing work. This seems like a really fun card in like some broken commander deck that has a bunch of absurd stuff or whatever. But for limited, the setup cost is very real on Getaway Barrel. I mean, finding ways to get an artifact into the graveyard from the battlefield is not trivial. It does exist, but it's not like you just always have it.
Yeah. Can you imagine the games where you don't have the way to sacrifice this? Like
4 mana, your move, it does like actual nothing either.
Yeah, it's just like, okay.
I would say F for Getaway Barrel. There is no way this can be worth it, but it is cool.
It's definitely cool, but yes, I agree. It's enough.
Next, all right, this is the 3 toughness
Red
dragon.
has not been killing it so far, I'll tell you that much.
No, we have not.
We're 7 cards in, and we've got 2 solid Bs.
2 cards that we were like, if that was an uncommon, I would believe you. Next up, all right, this has to be it. This is Smaug the Magnificent.
It's a mythic rare Smaug the Magnificent. We're gonna give it an A. Let's give it an
A, and then we'll work backwards.
We gotta manifest because this is just sad. Right now.
It's 2 red for a 4/3 legendary dragon at Mythic. Smaug has flying and haste, and whenever he attacks, he deals damage equal to the number of treasures you control to any target. And at the beginning of your upkeep, create a treasure token. Actually, that is an A.
That is an A. Yeah. 4 mana, 4/3 flying haste is like an A- just to start out with, because like it's just such a beatdown. And then I would say getting a treasure every turn and then starting to ping with the Smaug. We can get to A easily.
Definitely. Yeah, that is if I'm only going to pay 4 mana for my dragon, this is what I want. So they did a good job with that. That's cool. He's kind of an old school dragon, but a very good one.
You don't have to do anything to have this work out. It's just great.
Next up is Thorin Mountain King. This is 3 and a red for a 3/4 legendary dwarf noble, also mythic rare. And Thorin has trample, and it says when Thorin enters, attach any number of target equipment you control to target creature you control. When 1 or more equipment becomes attached to that creature this way, that creature deals damage equal to its power to up to 1 target creature.
So without equipment, this is a 4 mana 3/4 trample, no text, like no other text. It's a French vanilla. There's nothing else.
Yes.
In fact, it doesn't even do anything if you draw equipment afterwards, because it immediately does the thing. and then that's it. It's one turn.
It's
That
not
said-
enters or attacks. It's just enters. Okay.
Yeah. That said, there are some good equipment. And in fact, I mean, or not to look too far ahead, but we definitely underrated a number of the equipment. Just the core settiness of this set has made it feel like equipment is actually pretty good.
I have lost to equipment numerous times. I agree.
Yeah. So that makes Thorin, I would say, like a build around A. Like if you play this and have it attach one equipment and then your creature kills one of their creatures, like we're talking a flame tongue that also got you whatever the equip cost was.
Totally.
Note that though the equipment has to become attached. If you have an equipment already on a creature, you can't choose that creature to attach it to. But if you have an equipment attached to a creature, play Thorin, and then you can target Thorin itself, move the equipment onto Thorin. Thorin deals like 5 damage or whatever to the creature.
Okay, so that works. Yeah, so this is really difficult because, I mean, we have to give it a build around grade because the difference between, 4 mana, 3/4 trample, which is like, I don't know, a C or something, versus, like you said, a Flame Tongue Kavu that even saves you some mana and maybe even sets up an attack you didn't have prior. I mean, that is an absurd swing. How many equipment? I guess that's the question. If I have 3 equipment in my deck, am I happy at that point? Is it 4?
I would be. I'd be pretty happy with 3 equipment, I think.
Yeah. And the fallback plan isn't a disaster. Like I said, I said he's like a C maybe or something around that. But, okay. I mean, you put those cards in your deck. That's kind of what C's, C minuses, C pluses are. They're the everyday cards. So, it's not like this is one of those cards that if you don't do the thing, then you've just done nothing. No, you're still curving out. You're still adding to your board in a meaningful way. So that's a fine backup plan. I think if I had 3 equipment, yeah, like B plus. There's just those times when it doesn't happen, and I have to somehow bake that into the numbers. Anytime I get to do it, I think he's an A. Like if I get to do the equipment.
If you ever get the trigger, it's basically an A. It's a 4 mana 3/4 that eats something and also maybe moves an equipment in a way that's beneficial. Though, as we kind of discussed, some amount of the time you're going to be moving an equipment in a way that's not particularly beneficial. Like you might actually be, it'd be kind of bad, but that's fine,
Yeah, I'll go B plus on Thorin Mountain King on average, but that's with the build around understanding that you do have 3-ish or more equipment in your deck. What do you think?
I would just say build around A, but yes, it requires equipment. Like I would say you'd want 3 is a good number to kind of get to that mark. At 2 equipment, I would still call this card a B. Like it is really strong when it works.
Yeah,
and it doesn't require, and you'd have a creature out. Just Thorin plus the equipment generally will do it.
And I mean, to be clear, I would actually just play this with 1 equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
It's just a playable card on its own, and then if I get that random absurd upside, I'm in for it. All right, next up is Balin Loremaster. 3 red for a 4/4 legendary dwarf bard at rare. And he's got Storied, if you remember that. That's kind of one of the things in this set. And whenever Balin or another dwarf you control enters, you may discard your hand. Draw X cards, where X is the number of cards discarded this way. If you have an enduring story, Balin deals X damage to each opponent. Is there something good about discarding your hand? Like this is replacing all of the cards, so like it's card neutral. Is it just you save the ones that you don't want? Get rid of some lands or whatever?
Well, no, you have to discard your whole hand.
I'm saying like you craft your hand to... I've left myself with an additional land or whatever.
You're trying to figure out, you're trying to play this and have like, you have 2 lands left, or you chose not to play like a mediocre 2-drop on turn 4. Cause like, sure. Yeah, that could happen. I mean,
a little difficult on a 5-drop, I guess, but
the payoff is like deal 3 to them when this happens, which isn't really like with the story payoff rather. The main payoff of this is it's a 5 mana 4/4 that all your dwarves, including it, let you kind of rummage your whole hand away. Mm-hmm. You're not going to do that too many times before you kind of run out of cards if the X is big enough, but maybe then the damage actually like adds up kind of nicely.
Yeah. My assumption, especially given that this thing costs 5, is that by the time you cast it, it's usually 1 card or 2. And if you draw another dwarf, let's say you just draw a land, you just keep it in your hand. And then if you draw a dwarf down the line, you play it, pitch the land, and, just use it as a little card filtering and a little additional damage if you get to store it. I mean, this is all fine, right? Like,
yeah, I agree.
I'm unexcited, I would say, but I mean, B- or something for Ball and Lore Master.
I think B- is fine. Like at 5 mana, you're not going to have that many cards left in the hand. So it's like the first trigger on this isn't that amazing. It does get better over time, of course, because as you get more resources in play and you're starting to hold, like when lands become zeros, you know, like that, all that stuff can help a little. But yeah, generally, I would say Bolton's probably closer to like a C.
Yeah,
I don't know.
C plus maybe. Next up is Desert Wereworm. This is 4 red for a
He's not
0/5.
I'll tell you that.
What's that?
Said he's not balling out of control. I'll tell you that. He is very much in control here.
Next up is Desert Wereworm, which is 4 red for a 0/5 Dragon Worm at rare. It gets +2/+0 for each mountain you control. And whenever you attack with creatures with total power 12 or greater for the first time each turn, hint, hint, untap all attacking creatures. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So 6 mana, you've got 2 mountains we're going to assume to cast it. So it's automatically a 4/5. And since it's 6 mana, we'll throw another mountain in there for you. So you've got a 6/5 for 6 probably. And it does get bigger over time in the power department. 5 toughness is quite a lot. That goes a long way if you're eventually going to generate an additional combat step. You want your creature to be able to survive the first version of that so that it can live to attack again.
They really want to make mono red a thing, huh?
Yeah, really. How many mountains do you have is the thing? This seems just okay, you know? Just like, I don't know. At what point do you get excited about this, right? Like if I told you it's an 8/5 for 6, you're like, yeah, okay. That hits okay. No trample, no menace, no nothing.
So if you have 4 mountains in play and it's an 8/5 and you have to have a 4 power creature and attack, you know, maybe this is the first time in history, but like I have not seen the second combat step ever be good because it just requires so much from you to begin with.
So much. The thing is that almost any of these cards that do this, they're almost always red, and that means that you don't get quite as many flyers, and having 2 combat steps with flyers can add up to a lot of damage that you wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. But any other setup is kind of rich get richer vibes. Like it's like win more, right? It's like, well, I had a good attack, so now I'll do it again. If you didn't have a good attack, the second combat step doesn't help you. Like you trade or lose your creatures on the first combat and there's nothing left to do. So you already have to be ahead, you know, for this to be a thing, or you have to just have like a couple of huge creatures or some just weird setup. I would give Desert Wereworm a fairly low grade. I mean, this is another one that to me has uncommon vibes. Yes, the extra combat step wouldn't really fit with the design space that you get for uncommon, but you know, kind of big dumb creature with extra ability is it has a uncommon vibe to me. Not that matters. I mean, you know, there's uncommons that are A's or whatever, but God, I mean, is it even a B-?
I don't even think so. Like it's a 6 mana. Like let's say you play it with 5 mountains. It's a 6 mana 10/5. How often is that going to be good?
Who cares?
Like certainly some other time it will be, but
yeah. I guess I would just give it a C.
Yeah, I like C for Desert Wereworm.
Weird. Next is Stone Giant of High Pass. This is 5 red. This is 7 mana for a 7/7 giant at rare. And it says, whenever this creature enters or attacks, create a 3/1 colorless wall artifact creature token with Defender named Stone Boulder. And then it has 2 and a red, sacrifice an artifact. This creature deals 4 damage to any target.
7 mana 7/7 makes a 3/1 blocker, and 3 mana sack that 3/1 to deal 4 to any target. And when you attack, you get another one. Yeah, I'm in for this. This is sweet.
Yes.
I would give Stone Giant of High Pass probably like a B+, A-. It does cost 7.
Yeah.
But if you untap with it, it's very good. You're probably going to win because you get to use it twice.
I was going to say B+. Yeah.
Yeah. I think B+ is fine. And if they kill it, you are left with a 3/1, which isn't nothing, but it's not amazing. It's just okay.
A 3/1 wall. But the play pattern of play this, go, comes back to you. You've got the 6 mana. You attack with it. You can do 8 damage to anything.
Yeah. You get 2 activations. It's pretty strong.
Isn't your opponent kind of getting pretty dead at that point? Either you clear out blockers and slam them for 7, or you just go to the dome. Yeah, I like that a lot. And I really also am, as we know, partial to cards that help you stabilize if you're a little bit behind. And this is a nice high-end way to do that. I mean, it is difficult to kill you, if you go 7/7 plus a 3/1 go. It's like, well, whatever their board looked like, if it didn't involve flyers, they're going to have a hard time getting through that. So that's a nice curve topper for red. A little out of place maybe, but I like B+ for Stone Giant of High Pass. All right, that'll move us to green. Our first card is Bejeweled Warg. It's 1 and a green for a 3/2 wolf at rare with trample. So 2 mana 3/2 trample straight away. And it says, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, choose 1. Put a +1/+1 counter on target wolf you control. And reminder, this is a wolf. Or create a treasure token. Wow. They did not hold back on that one.
No, and it has trample. So
yeah.
a pretty common play pattern with this. In fact, I just had this card in a deck. You play it, they play an X2, like a 2/2. You attack, they block. You don't even have anything, but you still trample over for 1 and you get a treasure.
Wow.
Pretty great.
That's awesome. That is a lot of value, a lot of power, a lot of rate, as we say, for just 2 mana.
Yeah, Bejeweled Warg looks to me like probably an A-.
Yeah, I think so.
So what that reflects is not that if you draw this card on turn 5, you're going to win. It's that in your opening hand, this card can give you a really significant advantage.
Huge.
To the point where it's going to be hard for you to lose, if they don't answer it. And especially if you have a way to push it past that first attack, you play it, they play a creature, and you either have a combat trick, they're always going to block, a removal spell, you attack, it gets bigger, or sometimes what you could even do is play another wolf, attack, and pump the other wolf so that your eggs aren't all in the one basket. There's just no real way to lose out on this card.
Yeah. And I really like the 2 different abilities being quite different from each other, strategically, because we've seen cards like this that snowball where you hit once and now it's a 4/3 and then their next blocker isn't big enough to block it and then you attack again and they're just if left unchecked, this card can just go the distance itself. But they usually don't, because people play removal and at some point they will kill this thing. So then is it better to cash in some treasures to build out a board faster than what your opponent's doing? And then if they do kill your Bejeweled Warg, you go, okay, well, that's fine. I used it to pump out my 4-drop a turn early and you're still behind, and those are 2 really different but interesting strategic decisions that you have to make, because, I wouldn't be surprised if it's attack with this, if it gets through the first time, or you can get it through, you put the counter on it. Now, the next time you don't, you attack with it, they don't really have a good block. Then you make a treasure and kind of hedge your bets a little bit and build out your board. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it goes. But I think the main thing is this has to be the scariest thing that you could see on turn 2, right?
Just about. I mean, it's a 3/2 trample that on hit does 2 different strong effects. Yeah. So it's pretty hard to imagine this is going to go poorly if I play this card. At worst, it trades for a removal spell, and then that's fine too.
Right, which it will often do. I agree with you. A- for Bejeweled Warg. Next up is Down in the Valley. This is a saga. It's a rare enchantment saga. It's 2 and a green, and it has 4 chapters. First 2 are the same, and then the third and fourth, first 2 are different, and then the third and fourth are the same. First one is search your library for a basic land card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. So it's not ramp, but it does go grab you a land. And then chapter 2 is this saga gains landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, create a 1/1 green elf creature token, and you're, locked to do that because you just drew yourself a land. And by the way, that does stay on this. This isn't only for chapter 2. The thing's actually gaining it. So for the rest of the time that it's here, which is the next turn, that landfall can trigger again. And then chapters 3 and 4 are the same, and they are elves you control get +1/+0 and gain vigilance until end of turn.
So you go to play this, get a land in your hand, not in play, and nothing. Next turn, play the land, make a 1/1. Next turn, your elves get +1/+1 vigilance. You play land, make another one because it still has that landfall ability. And the turn after that, so by itself, you're attacking with a 2/1, then 2/2/1s. But obviously, there's a lot of ways to like make that work a little better.
Not a lot here, huh?
I mean, you do get two lands and 2 elves, right? So if you play the Saga out and don't even value the +1/+1 vigilance too highly, you're like, you play this, you make a 1/1, you make another 1/1, and you got 2 lands and 2 1/1s. That's
that's
land, not too
right?
bad. What's that?
One land?
Oh, I thought it was the first. I thought it was 2 lands. No, this card's way worse than I thought.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like, would you pay 3 mana
for 2 1/1s
and a land over the course of the next? Well, 1 land right away, and then a 1/1 each turn for the next 2 turns.
2 turns, and you get some pumps. Yeah, I mean, it's still probably like a B-.
Probably like in the range, right? Yeah, I would. It's not. It's just a little slow. It is just a little slow. But maybe the +1/+0 vigilance stuff actually matters too. Like if you're, trying to race, you would think down in the valley wouldn't be where you'd want to be, but I don't know. If if you're doing the elf thing beyond just the tokens that you make, you might be slamming. B-, C+ for down in the valley. It's a little slow. Next up is Radagast of Rosgabel. This is 2 green for a 2/5 legendary avatar wizard at regular rare, actually. And it says the first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast and can be cast as though it had flash. So 4 mana, 2/5, kind of a defensive stance. But it makes the first creature each turn a lot cheaper. 2 mana is a lot, and you can even play it on your opponent's turn if you want, or even you could play one on your turn and one on your opponent's turn if you were.
I mean, what's sick is if you can play this on you play this on turn 5 and you can cast on their turn if you a 3-drop.
Yeah. Wow.
It eats up the first creature when you play it, so you can't on your turn 5 play this and immediately play a 3 on your turn, but you can on their turn. So that already kind of works.
It is the first creature if you've cast
presumably,
it,
yeah. Or at least by the time it's in play, you've cast your first creature, that sort of thing.
Okay. What do you think about 4 mana 2/5?
I mean, 4 mana 2/5 is not impressive by itself, certainly, but I think that the fact that it can generate a pretty significant mana advantage goes a long way.
I do too. I mean, I guess my question is, how many creatures would I need to cast off this to make it so that I'm excited about this card? And I guess it's probably only 2, right?
I think, I think 2 is not unreasonable. And I think after the first one, with 1, you're not even that far off of feeling like you got decent value.
And then the fact that you can get flash too is like a minor bonus, but it is really annoying for your opponent. They're facing down a 2/5.
They never know what you have. You
and
have
they
2
have
mana
no
up,
idea what you've got.
You could flash in a 4-drop.
Totally. Or a 6 or something crazy, right? So I don't know. I like it. I think it's a cool design. It doesn't seem, on the overt bomb level to me, but I mean, I would take this early and play it every time. I was thinking B+
you all play
for
this card.
Radagast.
I would say B+ for Radagast.
Yeah.
It's just, it offers too much mana with decent stats. It's not like it's the best ever, but it's big enough to be good.
And I really like the flash. That's what makes it the most interesting, in play.
Yeah.
Next up is Bjorn the Fierce. This is 3 green for a 6/6 legendary bear shapeshifter warrior at Mythic rare. It has trample, and it gives other bears you control +2/+2. And it says at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a trample counter on up to 1 target creature you control. It becomes a bear, in addition to its other types. Then, if you control 3 or more bears, draw 2 cards.
I mean, this is kind of like Bear Grave Titan of sorts. I mean, I guess it doesn't create the creatures exactly, but it's a 6/6 trample. You immediately get to make something +2/+2 because you make it into a bear. And on the second turn that you have this, you draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Or if you already had a bear in play, you immediately draw 2 cards if you have another creature to turn into a bear.
Absolutely. Remember, Bjorn
That's
is
not very hard. Bjorn the Fierce just looks like an A to me.
It does to me too. That is an absurd card. There has never been this is one of those must kill, right? Like if you have instant speed removal and they play this and you can put a stop before combat, like you feel like you got away with something, because this thing is going to be not difficult to set up, and it's going to be throwing around a heck of a lot of power and toughness, and then eventually cards. Must kill. I think the only sad thing about it, Luis, is that it's a 6/6 trample, so it kills your opponent pretty quickly. You might not get the cards because they die too soon. It's the no wait, come back card of the set. Next up is Dancing from Dark to Dawn. This is 3 green for an enchantment. This is also mythic rare, and it says whenever you cast a creature spell, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is that spell's mana value. And then it has landfall. Whenever land you control enters, create a 2/2 green bear creature token. Man.
So the landfall means you always have a bear in play. And then when you cast a creature, you then get to buff one of those bears or anything else you want by a pretty good amount.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all.
I don't either. I mean, it does have the unfortunate downside of 5 mana do nothing. That is very rough. That is a speed bump that you have to get over if you're going to take advantage of Dancing from Dark to Dawn. Most scenarios, you're just going to cast it and nothing happens. If you decide to wait a turn, sure, you can do that and then play your land and get a 2/2 as well. But that's not really the name of the game. This is an enchantment. It's difficult to kill. You can assume it will be on the battlefield in most scenarios by the time it comes back to your turn. So if you have 5, you just run it out there. Feels like it would completely dominate the late game. Most green decks are either playing lands or casting creatures or doing both in the same turn, and all of these things are good when you have Dancing from Dark to Dawn out. So there's a lot to like there. But I do want to make sure that we ding it properly for not doing anything the turn it comes into play. When you spend 5 mana and nothing happens, that is a steep cost.
We've seen 5 mana enchantments a bunch that make creatures, right? Like we've seen, like there's like the one with Warp in Edge of Eternities, and every time you played a land, you made a 2/2. There's the one in Final Fantasy, the Chocobo one, and there's at least one more. We've basically seen done to death 5 mana when you play a land, make like a 2/2, and those have all been baseline just okay. But when you cast a creature spell make +1/+1, does that put it over the top? Because the Warp one was solid in Edge of Eternities. It was totally fine. The Chocobo Racetrack, not so great, but it had its moments. I think Dance from Dark to Dawn is going to be really good because how much would you pay for just the top part? If you had a 3 mana enchantment, that seems like that could actually be pretty good. Like,
yeah, it's a ton of counters. I mean, it's a ton. I mean, just imagine just playing a 3-drop. It's like 3 +1/+1 counters on some creature. I mean, that's insane. Like, yeah, I don't know. I really like it. This is my type of card.
It not always, but basically always means you'll have a place to put those counters. That's huge. That really shores up, because a lot of what was missing. What it doesn't solve is the fact that this is slow. Yeah. If you can't even really go the like, oh, I'll cast this on turn 6 and play a land, because then you're waiting an additional turn on getting the top text in. So what you probably do is play this on turn 5, do nothing that turn. Turn 6, maybe you have land, maybe not, make a 2/2, but also play a creature and give one of your creatures +3/+3, +4/+4, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would want to give Dancing from Dark to Dawn like a B or a B+.
Yeah, I don't think this is a bomb, but I think this card is going to win a lot of games. If you, the key here is, can you not die when you play this? And maybe so, maybe not. But that top text plus X +1/+1 counters, all your creatures are basically twice as big.
They're huge,
right?
Yeah.
You play a 4-drop, it's twice as big. It's not pumping itself, but it's pumping, another creature. You're effectively getting twice as many stats from all your creatures, sometimes more. That sometimes less, I guess. So 4 mana 2/2 is not, giving, no, 4 mana 2/2. Yeah, no, it's still doubling. Yeah, we're getting it. That's more than doubling. I guess you're playing a 4 mana 5/5, you're not getting twice as good, but then you have 9 stats still.
Totally.
Yeah. I like B from Dancing from Dark Till Dawn, but it is the kind of card that has the potential to really take over a game completely.
Totally. I think it will dominate the late game, but suffer in the early to mid game. So that's the problem you have to solve. But if you do, you're going to win a lot with Dancing from Dark to Dawn. Next up is Part in Friendship. This is 4 and a green for an enchantment at rare. It says whenever a non-token creature you control dies, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. If its mana value is less than or equal to the number of lands you control, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This ability triggers only once each turn. But things have to die, right? Like that's what triggers this whole thing. Non-token creature dying.
Yeah, but your creatures are kind of like go forever because every creature that you have that dies replaces itself until you run out of creatures.
So it either goes onto the battlefield if it's cheaper or into your hand if it's not.
Yeah, so you're
getting
always
something either way.
Yeah.
Man, I like the Dancing from Dark to Dawn because of what you said. It has the ability to create creatures on which to put the counters that it does, and it kind of is self-contained in that way. But Part in Friendship, man, 5 mana and my creatures have to die for this to be a thing. I mean, it does seem annoying. It happens every single time. You're guaranteed to hit something either on the battlefield or in your hand. I don't know. I could see games where this doesn't really do anything or doesn't affect the outcome that much. And I could see games, attrition-based matchups or stalled board states, or if you're playing against red-black and they're all removal or whatever, where Part in Friendship would be extraordinarily annoying. Like they just can't really churn through your creatures either in combat or with most of their removal spells. There's a few exile effects too, but
yeah, I mean, when you go up or when you have the room to play this card, let's say you have 2 creatures out, you play this and they don't have like an evasive creature, kind of feels like you did it, right?
Kind of does.
Like, it's expensive and oh man, the fact that it gives the mana back though, I'm kind of feeling like there's something here. I know that a lot of cards like this, like the Thunderbolts villain card from Marvel was really bad. For example, the 4-mana enchantment that one of them died.
Yep.
It came back or whatever. This doesn't require you to have a specific creature type, and it a good amount of the times will put the creature right into play.
I think almost all the time, like you have 5 lands presumably when you cast Part in Friendship.
Yeah,
and
almost always. You
right.
Have to hit, I guess that's mostly anti-Emrakul text than anything else.
That's to keep you from doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, the fact that it just immediately goes into play, and if it doesn't, you still just. I mean, it is once a turn, so it's not like every single creature. Like it's not like a mass combat, but like getting a free creature every turn. I don't know. I think this card probably is like a B- or something like that.
I think I'm pessimistic, Luis. I think I want to give it like a D. I don't know. It is just ringing bells
These
in my head of it.
They really do.
They what?
They never work. These cards.
Yeah, exactly.
They just kind of don't.
They just figures like they never do, and like the once per turn.
How many
thing
green 5-mana enchantments that do nothing do you need? I don't know, but we're at 2 right now.
We're at 2 right now. Yeah. So I'll go low on Part in Friendship, and I'll hope it's good because I do like cards like that. Next up is the Notary Hobbits. I had this one in my last deck. It's kind of crazy. It's 3 green for a 1/1. It's a legendary halfling advisor rare. But it says when the Notary Hobbits enter, if they're not a token, so this version of it, you get 2 tokens that are copies of it that are not legendary. And here's the thing. They tap to add colorless mana for each halfling you control. So if you get to untap with all 3, they each tap for 3 mana. You have 9 extra colorless mana at your disposal. If, however, one of them were to die, now they each tap for 2. And if somehow they kill 2 of them, then it just taps for the 1. Unless you have other halflings, I suppose. My deck didn't. It was a elves deck, so these were the only halflings I had. So I guess it could even tap for more somehow. But just on its face, 3 creatures for 5 mana, even though they're just little 1/1s, isn't the worst. And it does get dumb. I mean, if you just go, okay, fine, I'll take a little extra damage or whatever, and you get to untap with literally 9 colorless mana more than you had the turn prior, like you can really empty your hand onto the battlefield. And that I did that numerous times. And then you can use them to chump block or triple block or whatever you need to do later. Cause I mean, it's so much mana that like you do just empty your hand and then they just become creatures again, basically.
I mean, it's basically Cloud Goat Ranger.
Yeah, it kind of, I mean, making 3 anythings for 1 card tends to be pretty good. And these are creatures, which is good. And these are creatures that add a ton of mana. I liked it. I mean, I would give the Notary Hobbits like a B. It played really well for me. Even if one of them died, it was like still 4 extra mana and 2 creatures.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of going to ask is like, this actually looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, very strong. I mean, it feels broken, right? Like when you start off a turn on 5 mana and the next time the turn comes back to you, you get 9 extra plus maybe a land drop. It's like I went from 5 mana to 15 mana the next turn. It's like, whatever I have left in my hand is going to hit the battlefield at that point. And that is kind of insane, but it's not completely unchecked because like this doesn't, draw you cards or do anything like that. And so you do need to have the stuff in your hand to take advantage of that big mana bump. And if it's just like, let's say you had a 6-drop, well, you maybe could have just cast that anyway. Like this wasn't doing that like completely broken thing. But even when it didn't, it still felt fine at 3 creatures for 5 mana.
That's the thing is like it both offers you this absurd ramp to 15 mana, but also 3 things on the board that you can trade off, you can have 1 die. Like there's a lot of things you can do with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. B+ for Notary Hobbits. What do you think?
I would give it a B+. It looks pretty solid. I know I'm going to be scared when my opponent plays this card.
Definitely. It felt, like I said, it is one of the rare times that it felt like broken, like where you're like, well, this is dumb. Next up is Cantankerous Keepers. This is 5 and a green for a 4/3 elf soldier at rare, and it has affinity for elves. That means that it costs 1 less to cast for each elf you control. And it says when this creature enters, mill 4 cards, then put all elf cards from among them into your hand. A great elf rare. This is the type of card that rewards you for having a ton of elves in your deck. If you have a couple of on the battlefield, this thing becomes a 4 mana 4/3 that gets you an elf or 2, depending on how much you built around it and how lucky you get with the mill. Excellent. Just a really, really good elf payoff. It is just that though. The affinity for elves is elf specific. The mill thing is elf specific, and you have no interest in imagine how bad it's 6 mana 4/3 mill you for 4. If you're not doing the elves thing, it's really bad. But as an elf build around, it's like a B+.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if it draws 1 card and it costs 3 mana, like you're pretty happy. And sometimes you'll draw 2, not that often, but sometimes
every once in a while. Next up
this is a card I want to go off with Werewood Symbiote in older formats. That's a nice one.
Which card? The next one?
The 1 mana 1/1 insect that bounces an elf to untap a creature.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine untapping a Priest of Titania to cast this card and you're bouncing this.
That's cool. Yeah, if you can get it down to that cheap level. Next up, this is kind of the continuation of the naming scheme that we saw from commons and uncommons around these bears. And I guess this is the final form. It's Gigantic Big Bear. It is 5 green. Now, this is a good example of the power and toughness thing that we were talking about with that red, the one that cared about mountains, the desert wereworm. This one is 5 green, so 7 mana for a bear at rare. It is a 10/7. It cannot be countered, and it has both hexproof, which is really annoying, and also has haste. So you get to slam them out of nowhere for a huge amount of damage. And yes, it has lower toughness than power, but 7's still a lot. good ramp target here. Not amazing. Like I had this card in a deck and it performed well. Hexproof is really nice when you need to block, and haste is really nice when you're on the beatdown. This thing kind of comes out of nowhere and it's absolutely massive, but it's worth remembering it doesn't have trample. It doesn't have menace. It doesn't have any way to actually get this damage through. So they will often just throw some random army token under it or whatever. And in that case, it's not quite as good. For me, it played out at like a B level, maybe a B plus on a good day if you needed a ramp target for Gigantic Big Bear, but it didn't quite feel like it got into the A range for me. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it looks like a B. One thing that like you mentioned, not having trample means that sometimes in a mass token or a deck that's good at making those, or just a deck that's making recruiting, are just going to make it so you can't really do this. You can spend 7 mana, you got attack, they chump, then they attack you back. Totally. And if you're playing spending 7 mana and not attacking, then it's like a little medium.
It is. You get that warm, safe feeling from the hexproof, but it's kind of a lie. Like you'd rather just have reach in that case, so that you could stabilize the board even better. Yeah, I think it's B. It is a fine ramp target. And, if you can, like I had an equipment that gave it trample and then all of a sudden it was really good and the hexproof is nice and blah, blah, blah. Last green card is Through the Forest Gate. This is 6 green for a sorcery at rare. It says, look at the top 20 cards of your library. This is on an 8-drop, by the way. Put any number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. You gain 8 life. This is interesting, Luis, because, this really does push those boundaries of kind of 2 relatively minor effects that we normally just wouldn't want to pay mana for, right? Like getting lands out of your library. Like let's say you just exiled them instead of going onto the battlefield or something. It marginally improves, each one marginally improves the chances of your draws in the late game. It's a welcome effect, but it's never really been something that we've wanted to actually pay mana for and pay a card for. Life gain, same thing. Right? Like if it says I gain 3 life, I take it. Like that's great. That can change a race. But at some point, if a card is only gaining life, it really needs to gain a lot to make it worth just a single card. Like kind of an amount they've never really printed on a card before. This one is trying to combine these 2 things in kind of an interesting way. 8 is a lot of life, and effectively all the lands out of your library mostly is kind of interesting. It's still 8 mana for this effect, and it doesn't do anything to the board whatsoever. Where do you come down on this? Is this still just hot garbage?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's cool, and it's a sweet card. I can expect a lot of people to like this card for like Commander or other formats. It's just like a very evocative, like get all the lands, gain a bunch of life, But yeah, you can put every land in your deck into play and never draw land again and get 8 life. And I still think you can't really had this much mana on that. I know.
That's what I think too. I'd give it an F.
Yeah, I like F for Through the Forest Gate.
Not put it in my deck. Okay, that will move us over to white. First card up is Belladonna Took. This is 1 and a white for a 2/2 legendary halfling citizen at rare. Whenever a token you control enters, you gain 1 life if this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn. If it's the second time, draw a card. If it's the third time, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Wow. Belladonna is not a fool of a toque, let's just say, because that's insane.
I mean, the threshold is 2 because like if you get the card out of it, obviously they put the weakest trigger on the first, and I would say that the third trigger is the strongest just because it only triggers when you have put 3 tokens into play. So at that point, you're getting 4 +1/+1 counters minimum. But, draw a card is also a very good effect. So I would say this is like a build around A.
It's a build around A, but man, you really need token creation, and that's hard to find.
Yeah.
I mean, it's here. It does exist, but I mean, this is a white card. Like you're not getting armies out of this very often.
Yeah, you're getting Recruit though. Recruit is
absolutely.
It's going to line that up nicely.
Yeah, I think the hard part is the second one. But honestly, even just gaining 1 life whenever one of those comes in isn't that bad. I would have a hard time. It will be difficult to get to the third one. Build around A for Belladonna Took. Next is Bilbo's Gambit. This is 1 and a white for an instant. It is rare. It says, return target spell to its owner's hand. If the gift was promised, players can't cast spells this turn. And then it has this ability, gift a treasure. And it says you may promise an opponent a gift as long as as you cast this spell. If you do, they create a treasure token before its other effects. And then a treasure, is an artifact that you can sack to make any color of mana. So it has two modes. Basically, you can play it for 1 and a white instant, return target spell to its owner's hand. Full stop. If you want to give your opponent a treasure in addition to it, that opponent can't cast spells this turn as well.
I mean, I'm just not playing Reprieve that doesn't draw a card. It right. is nice. Like you can imagine on the last turn of the game, you Bilbo's Gambit, their first spell, and they can play nothing else. But it's like, that is so narrow compared to the fact that you just spent 2 minutes to bounce a spell on the stack. No card back for you. So
right.
Honestly, I would say this is an F. The only application I can think of for Bilbo's Gambit is your opponent has a deck built around casting 7-drops, and you can use this to get over the finish line, but that's just not very realistic.
Yeah, I agree. I would give an F for Bilbo's Gambit. Next up is Gleaming Splendor. This is 1 and a white for an enchantment at Mythic Rare. It says, whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you create a treasure token. And then it has the activated ability, 2 and a white, 2 target players each draw a card. I mean, I whenever I see these cards, I'm always like, but I have to be the one to pay the mana and to use the card to get this whole party going.
I just prefer that they put the commander cards that are strictly commander in the commander set as opposed to in this set, because
seriously.
The multiplayer stuff, this is just clearly a multiplayer card. That's fine. It's an F. Don't put Gleaming Splendor in your deck.
Yeah. Why are these cards still in here? It's interesting. I guess that these sell packs in that way too, so they have to kind of spread around these type of cards. At least they made it Mythic, so we don't have to see it that often. Next up is Keely the Resourceful. This is 1 and a white for a 1/2 legendary dwarf scout at Rare, and it has storied, and it says as long as you have an enduring story, you may pay 0 rather than pay the equip cost of the first equip ability you activate each turn. It also says whenever another dwarf or equipment you control enters, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn.
How many Colossus Hammers have you drafted?
Colossus Hammer? What is that?
That's the 1 mana equipment that gives +10/+10. The one for Modern. This equips it for free.
Yeah, I was going to say 0 then. Yeah, this card seems really nice though.
This honestly looks like a builder on A, because there's just enough dwarves and equipment that I would want to go red-white specifically. And I think that if you play this, first of all, you can play it on turn 4 and play something with it.
And get your card.
Pretty easily. Mm-hmm. But second of all, if you just play this and they don't kill it, I imagine it's just going to draw you a card and get you free mana pretty consistently. So that's what I look for in a builder on. Obviously, it does need some help though.
Definitely a builder on A for Keely the Resourceful. That seems amazing in the dwarf/equipment deck. Next up is Roads Go Ever On. This is 1 and a white for an enchantment saga at Rare. It's got 4 chapters. First chapter is search your library for up to 2 basic plains cards, exile them, and then shuffle. You gain 2 life. Chapters 2 and 3 are the same. Put a card exiled with this saga into its owner's hand. So there you get your plains doled out over the next 2 turns. And then the 4th chapter is whenever you attack this turn, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each plains you control. Bro, I like it. I mean, this is not the kind of card, that you look at and just go, oh my God, it's some splashy, huge bomb. But man, I like hitting my land drops. I really like hitting my land drops. I like that it gives you 2 life back for that turn that you're kind of taking off here. And then, you even get a nice big fat attack in at the end too. This doesn't feel like a rare to me on that level, but no,
this feels like a nice uncommon. But this one gets you 2 lands. That one, I'm right about that.
Yes.
There are a lot of sagas that get you lands here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 mana to draw 2 plains, gain 2 life. And then give a creature +3/+3/+4/+4 once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds like a B to me. I'm in for this card.
B minus, something like that. I like it. Next up is The Eagles are coming. This is 1 and a white for an instant at common. It has a kicker cost of 2 white, so you can pay an additional 2 white as you cast this spell. And it says, choose target creature you own. If this spell was kicked, instead choose any number of target creatures you own. Return each chosen creature to your hand. At the beginning of the next upkeep, create a 4/4 white bird soldier creature token with flying for each creature returned to your hand this way.
This card is a beating.
Wow.
It does take some setup, but not that much. So looking at the non-kicker version, 2 mana, best case obviously is you save one of your creatures.
So they target it with removal and you say, I'm going to respond with the Eagles are coming.
That's just a blowout because you spent 2 mana for basically 4/4 flying draw card, right?
Right.
You know, you're up a card. If you are just like, I'm going to chump and then bounce my creature and then next turn get a 4/4, that's also like not that bad, especially if the creature has like a ETB effect. You know, you can imagine like wood elves or something. And then the kicker. The kicker is, I like that they couldn't both make it an instant and let the Eagles attack on your turn because that would just lead to too many like, okay, end of your turn, make 5 Eagles, you know. But as is, you're still like, maybe you're blocking, maybe end of their turn, bouncing like 3 creatures and then make 3 4/4s, then you replay your creatures. Like, sounds pretty great. Obviously, this card has a fail case, which is you don't have creatures in play. And sometimes when you can't effectively kick it because it's too much mana or you just don't have enough creatures, then it's maybe not the most impactful card. But if you can kick this on 2 creatures even, that's just amazing. And if it's 3, it's going to be really hard for your opponents to win. So I would give the Eagles are coming an A, but it does have the fail case for sure.
It does. And, you know, and the kicker is expensive. I mean, you're talking 6 mana with triple white, right? I mean, this is a lot, very mana intensive, but seriously, the base case, even just the base case of like your opponent just goes, I'll play a 5-drop on turn 5 go. And you just go, you know what? I'm just going to Eagles are coming my 2-drop back to my hand, get my 4/4, replay the 2-drop. Even for no like great value, you're still just, you know, you're getting a 4/4 bird on your turn. I mean, that is a legitimately powerful creature. So I like A with a bit of a build around there for Eagles are coming as well, or a bit of a consideration for mana, I should say. The next is the Queen of Dale. This is 1 and a white for a 2/1 legendary human noble at Mythic rare. It says whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, you recruit. Yeah, that's really annoying.
It's quite good. I've actually added this one to my cube because
I bet
it's kind of cheap and good. Like, you're not quite up a card every time it happens, but it's pretty close. Imagine you make a 1/1, you're up a 1/1 in a loot. And if you're just looting away lands, like, well, that's good for you too. I like A- on Queen of Dale.
Yeah.
It's just always going to provide some value.
It seems very annoying. Next up is an unexpected party. This is 2 white for an enchantment at rare. And it says, as this enchantment enters, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +2/+2. Wow. And then it's also an adventure, by the way. It has a sorcery adventure called At the Door, which is 2 white and X. So 3 mana plus X. Create X 2/2 red dwarf creature tokens. Good Lord.
Yeah.
That is an absolute beating. My goodness sakes.
I mean, this card is one of those cards that it solves the problem immediately and then pumps you, like, you know, like it presents you, okay, make a lot of creatures of the same type, and then I'm really good. Oh, also I do that thing exactly for you.
Right.
So
yeah. What would you say the play pattern would be? Like, I
almost
can kind
always
of see
you're going to want to go, because remember, you can play the adventure at the door first and then play unexpected party. You can't do it the other order. So almost always you're going to want to play 6 or 7 mana for, you know, 3 or 4 dwarves and then slam this and choose dwarf.
Right.
There are some games where you kind of could curve out with non-dwarves and just cast this on turn 4. Like, you're like turn 2 human, turn 3 human, cast unexpected party, give them both +2/+2. It's like a 4/4 haste, right? That's not completely crazy.
No, I could see keeping your eye out for times when to play an unexpected party without playing at the door first. But like Louis said, the majority of times, I mean, even if it's just like 5 mana, right? And you just make a couple of 2/2s and then just the next turn play this. And if you have like one other random dwarf or something, I mean, you're getting so far ahead on board.
Yeah. This
I like
Unexpected Party looks like an A to me. Like
A+.
The only thing that I don't like about this, like the only drawback is it is kind of slow. Like they're both expensive, which isn't to say that At the Door doesn't actually help you quite a bit because you're on 6 mana and you're like, well, make 3 2/2s. But this is the kind of card that when you're stuck on 3 or 4 mana could be quite ineffective. So I think that is worth considering. But yeah, I mean, this card is, I would give it an A. Like you could give it an A+, either one.
I think A is good. I like it as just a standalone game plan, like to get it into that A range. Next up is Feely the Pathfinder. This is 3 and a white for a 2/2 legendary dwarf scout at rare with storied. And as long as you have an enduring story, creatures you control get +1/+1. Wow. And whenever Feely or another non-token dwarf you control enters, create a 2/2 red dwarf creature token.
Yeah, so this card's just completely absurd.
Yeah, that's completely busted. I think I think that like we should recognize that card's very, 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 very powerful. So with under that umbrella, it does get kind of interesting. It is a 4 mana 2 toughness creature.
I mean, kind of. It's almost a 3 toughness creature because it's often going to give you an enduring story. Like it's pretty hard, not hard not to, but it's pretty common that it's going to. I think this card looks obscene. I mean,
I just view it as like an insane lightning rod. Like it is just
and even then you got a 2/2 out of the deal. You know,
what would
I
you
would
give
Feely an A.
An A. Yeah, I mean that card's absurd. Those last 2 cards are both regular rares. Also, last white card. Luis. It is Settle the Wreckage. 2 white for an instant at rare. It says exile all attacking creatures target player controls. That player may search their library for that many basic land cards, put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Funny, it's kind of like a super Path to Exile for attacking creatures. And of course, this card, let's just say it has an enduring story because of you.
It does.
At the Pro Tour. I was actually commentating that match as well.
I know.
Yes.
I've rewatched it.
Incredible one. Absolutely incredible. But yeah, how good is it in limited?
I don't think it's that great. Like my experience with Settle is that it can't. I got to revise my opinion, actually. Never mind. I think it's pretty good. Okay. I was going to say it's not that great because the last time I played with Settle is all best of 3. Like I wasn't playing very much best of 1. And in best of 3, especially when you're playing against people who are playing around things, Settle gets so much worse. On Arena, people aren't going to play around this card. It's going to kill 2 to 3 creatures, sometimes more, if you set it up. And obviously, if you don't set it up in a way that's good, then you end up in a spot where it's killing maybe one thing. It's a bad Path to Exile. But if you get 2 creatures off it, it's pretty good. If you get 3 or more, it's awesome. So I would give it probably a B+. I think it will be good. It's like a D if they're playing around it is the problem.
Yeah.
It costs so much mana to leave up, and they have full control over walking into it.
Yeah, exactly. And I have it in the same range, the B to B+ range. But the thing that I think needs to be recognized is you can't look at this card and only think of that insane best case where your opponent's like attack you with everything and you're like, Settle the Wreckage, right? That happens almost never. But the scenario where they have 2 good attackers and maybe you block one of them and they go combat trick and you go Settle the Wreckage, get both of your guys, that's good. Like that's really good. That can be good enough on its own. Yes, it's a little mana inefficient, but this ability to have that chance to nab 3 or 4 creatures every once in a while is insane. There is also a very niche use case. You can use it on your stuff. You can attack with your guys and they're like, I guess I'll just block here. And if you're just screwed on mana or you have some weird game plan going or there's some landfall thing or I don't know, whatever it is, you can cast it when you have your own attacking creatures and get the lands out of the deal. It is very rare. I do not recommend it unless you
I don't think I've ever seen that happen. I've
clear path to victory.
A lot.
I mean, I do it all the time. It's just
sure,
thing I do. Okay, that's it for white. Now we'll move us to blue. Our first blue card is Most Decrepit Old Bird. This is blue for a 1/1 bird at rare. It has flying and it has Threshold, a very old mechanic. It says this creature gets +1/+1 as long as there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard. But this is also an adventure creature. It has Speak Secrets, which is a sorcery adventure for 1 and a blue that says mill 4 cards, then put an instant or sorcery card from among them into your hand.
I think this card's sweet.
Yeah, I mean, neither effect is particularly good, but neither's bad, right?
This is a bit more of a constructed card, I will say.
Okay.
Like, I don't know that it's going to be good in constructed, but it's the kind of card like 1/1 flyers with Threshold is like certainly a lot better in constructed than in limited typically. Mm-hmm. But if you have a lot of instants and sorceries, you get to mill this and then you get to play it as a 2/2. I guess what's really annoying with this is that it doesn't work in the order you want.
Exactly. It's 2 mana
play
for
the one
the
drop
big one. Yeah.
And then do the mill. So it's probably a D, but I like the card.
I think so. I think it's like a D plus or a C minus or something, but I agree. I mean, anytime you whiff on Speak Secrets, it's a disaster, and the bird itself is never great. Like even at Threshold, it's like, oh, okay, cool. But that's later in the game. That's not turn 1. Next up is Bilbo Thief in the Night. This is 1 and a blue for a 2/2 legendary halfling rogue at Mythic rare. And it says spells you cast from anywhere other than your hand cost 1 less to cast. And there's more. Whenever Bilbo attacks, you may cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell from your graveyard. If an instant or sorcery spell cast this way would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. I had this in a deck and it's sweet. It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really strong.
Yeah. You just need to get it turned sideways and then you can cast a removal spell again and you get the discount. You even can cast artifacts and stuff, which is crazy.
You can also just trade this off and you could even attack like a chump attack if the card's good enough. But imagine you play this and then attack and trade for their thing. But while doing so, you also got to play a spell.
Yeah.
It's just not that bad.
Totally fine. And, if you are trying to get the train rolling, it doesn't quite work because you need to keep stocking up your graveyard. But, you can attack with this and use a removal spell to clear out the blocker for Bilbo so that he can attack again later in the game. But like I said, you'll kind of run out of fuel for that usually. But still, excellent card. Really, really sweet. And then, the spells you cast from anywhere other than your hand, like you'll get a random flashback reduction and stuff like that too, that just is static on Bilbo. I like B plus for Bilbo Thief in the Night. It didn't quite play at the A level for me, but it was right up there.
There are games where it will be really, really good, but yes, I think like around a B plus is probably where Bilbo is. You do want to build around it a bit. Like you want to find ways to make it work out.
Exactly.
More spells, all that kind of thing.
Next up is Wizard Staff. This is 1 and a blue for an artifact equipment at rare. It says equipped creature has prowess. So that means whenever its controller casts a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And the equip cost is 3, but there's an alternate equip cost, which is equip a wizard for 1. And it says that if an ability of equipped creature triggers, that ability triggers an additional time.
So it including the prowess. So that's so it'll at minimum gives your creature double prowess, and then of course it can go ahead and if you have any other triggers on your creature, it can kind of double those as well.
Yeah, it's hard to predict on these because this type of card, like I would not play it just for the double prowess thing. Like generally doesn't perform well on defense, only really great on offense. And even then it still requires setup cost, and Wizard Staff is taking up a slot of one of those spells that you're supposed to be using to trigger prowess. It can just get way too clunky, but I don't know if we've combed through the whole set and found some like broken triggered abilities that if you got twice would just be dumb. Maybe you could convince me to throw Wizard Staff in a deck or something. I just need to see kind of, there's a really cool combo with this or whatever to show me like some absurd upside. Cause at face value, I'm not interested, but if there was something crazy, maybe you could get a little build around going on. As it sits, I'd give it like a D.
Yeah, I like D for Wizard Staff. I just don't think you're really going to do it. Even it's not the most expensive, but by itself, like let's say you cast 2 spells a turn and then it's +4/+4. That's like kind of nice. But if you're just casting 1 spell and you're giving it +2/+2 a turn, like you had to find a wizard and then equip this, and you still spent 3 mana total. Like I'm not a big fan.
Nah. And remember, there's 4 wizards in the set. We looked earlier, so not really a thing. And equip 3 just makes it just completely not a deal. Next is Elrond Moonreader. This is 2 and a blue for a 3/3 legendary elf noble at Mythic Rare. And it says, whenever you activate an ability of a creature, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So that's activated abilities, only not triggered abilities. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this has an activated ability itself. It's 5 blue, so 7 mana for exile up to 2 other target non-land permanents you control. Return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step.
So 7 mana to bounce and draw a card.
So blink 2 of your things and draw a card for 7 mana.
Yeah.
Well, that's not that great.
It just depends. It kind of depends on how many other things you have to activate. Because this goes kind of nicely where you like play this. If you have other things, you draw a card or 2, and you get up to 7 mana. You can go like block, blink both my things, draw a card.
Yeah,
Maybe
I meant the activated abilities, not that great, but the card is, 3 mana, 3/3 that you just activate any ability on a creature. You just drawing cards. Like what you have a tapper.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know off the top of my head what they are, but I mean, activated abilities are pretty common these days. So I figure you could probably turn that into cards really easily. The 7 mana thing, it's probably something to do in the late game. But at that point, I feel like if you've had Elrond Moonreader on the battlefield for that long, you're probably doing just fine.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably just give it a B. Like
B plus maybe.
Yeah. If your deck's particularly well suited for it, you can give it a B plus.
Yeah, if you have a lot of activated ability creatures, that's cool. That's a really cool card.
Yeah, it's a nice card. I actually had this when I drafted Blue Green Elves, and it was totally solid.
It was solid.
It's a must kill, and if you can figure out a turn where you can like play it and use something and immediately get a card, that's nice. I wouldn't count on that though. That's not usually going to happen with this card. Yeah,
but then you also of course get a 3 mana 3/3 and a relevant creature type. There's just a lot of good stuff there. Next up is Great Gilded Boat. This is 2 and a blue for a 4/4 artifact vehicle at rare. And it says, whenever you attack, recruit. That's just static?
Yeah.
Just attack?
It doesn't have to attack with this either. Yeah, just attack it all. You draw a card, discard a card, maybe make a soldier, and those soldiers can help crew the Great Gilded Boat.
Yeah, crew 2 is the cost, which... we've discovered over the years that crew 1 is where you really, really want to be, and crew 2 is like, okay. And anything crew 3 and above gets a lot more difficult. Like you need a lot more on the front end to make it worth it. But this is pretty interesting. Crew 2 and a 4/4, that's pretty reasonable. And whenever you attack recruit, I mean, geez, play this and just attack with anything and start piling up the recruit triggers.
Yeah. And then this, you have ways to crew this, and then this can start attacking,
right?
And whatnot.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It feels like it's like a B.
Yeah, I would say B. I don't think I wouldn't go A on the Great Gilded Boat, but I think B is totally fine.
Yeah, and we've seen some of these recruit decks that really do want to trigger recruit every turn if possible, and this is a good way to at least get you a good way towards doing that. Next up is Riddles in the Dark. This is 2 and a blue for an instant at rare. And it says, look at the top 4 cards of your library and separate them into a face down pile and a face up pile. An opponent chooses one of the piles, put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. And it's 4 cards.
What is it about Lord of the Rings that they had just decided that they had to make this card again? Because you remember the 1 blue black rare where you did this plus tempt the ring. So I mean, the card is fine. Riddles of the Dark, what you want to do to get the most advantage out of this is try to exploit the information your opponent has. So you cast this, right? You look at your top 4 cards. If you've like missed a land drop, obviously your opponent's not going to want to give you lands, so you want to try to like put the lands in the face down pile and put some spells in the face up pile, and maybe they'll choose that. But you could like put 1 in each, maybe depending on the situation. Sometimes my observations with cards like this and just human psychology in general is they're more scared of giving you the face down pile. That's not to say that they will always give you the face up pile, but people tend to fear like the unknown a little bit more. I know when I played with a card like Burning Wish, and I would factor fiction and reveal Burning Wish, where you can get a sorcery out of your graveyard or a tutor, a demonic tutor. People would almost never give you the tutors because it could be anything. It could be something so good. So if you riddles and you see 2 good spells but one's better than the other, consider putting the better one in the face up pile because they might fear the face down pile more. But generally, you're going to want to make the 2 piles somewhat equal.
And how often would you put, and in what circumstance would you do like a pile of 3 and 1 rather than 2 and 2?
If I would do 3 and 1 if you really needed the card in the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or in the 1 rather.
In the 1.
Like if you're able to afford it, because they're going to want to give you the 1 pile most of the time. So if you can put them in a position, I mean, if you want to play a real mind game, 3 face up, 1 face down, the face down card is bad.
Yes. That is the bluff potential that you can actually have for cards like that. This is really cool. I mean, this card's amazing. It's an instant on end step, on the majority of times you're going to get 2 cards. And depending on how you set your piles, you're probably going to get, kind of what you would expect, like 1 good card and 1 okay card is kind of, what you would expect from just drawing 2 cards off the top of your library. But, you also get to put a couple cards into your graveyard. That can be good. Yeah, it
goes right to your graveyard.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, Riddles of the Dark seems like a very solid card draw spell to me. Do you think
it is much better than draw 2 cards?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I would give it probably a B minus.
Yeah, B minus.
I don't think it's like an amazing card.
Mm-hmm. B minus for Riddles in the Dark, and definitely try to bluff your opponent every once in a while. It's fun. Next up is Roll, 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 Roll. And this is an enchantment saga at Rare. It's 2 and a blue, and it has 4 chapters. They're all exactly the same, which is exile up to 1 target creature or land you control. If you do, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So you basically get to go blink, 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 blink. But it's kind of a slow blink. It comes in at the end step. I mean, I can't imagine this being worth a card. I mean, I guess I can imagine it, but on an average case or even a good case scenario, it just seems like it's too easy to break up the party. One thing you could do is, I've got a really good permanent that ETBs and gives me something, and now I'm going to get to do it 4 times. And if they destroy it in response, and you're just like, oh no.
No, it's an F. It's an F. Sorry.
It's just an F. Next up is Uncover the Moon Letters. This is 3 and a blue for an enchantment at Rare. It says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may draw X cards, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. If you do, discard 2 cards. So you're not actually up cards until you start casting 3 mana or more non-creature spells. If you cast 2, then you're neutral on the extra part.
It's slightly better than neutral because you get to find a spell to cast with this and draw more cards.
Yeah, I meant neutral card advantage, but definitely like you're getting that selection.
Yeah.
This is a lot of setup cost. I mean, this is 4 mana itself to do nothing.
Well, if you like that, just wait till we get to our next card. That's 5 mana to do nothing.
I would give Uncover the Moon Letters like a D minus or an F or something. It's just too much setup. There's some cool stuff. I'm sure it'll win a game or 2.
Optional. Because
I do too.
I would be scared of running out of cards.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, if you can cast this and then cast a removal spell, then cast another removal spell, you're probably in pretty good position. Mm-hmm. It's asking a decent amount.
If they cost 3 or more.
Yes, if they cost 3 or more.
I would start off with...
I would give it a D to Uncover the Moon Letters.
Yeah, so we're low on it. Next up is Fateful Discovery. Ooh, a mythic rare enchantment. It's 3 blue, and it says, whenever an artifact you control enters, draw a card. So how many artifacts do you have in your deck? Not enough to make Fateful Discovery a thing.
I played against this. It wasn't very good. It drew my opponent 1 card before they died.
Yeah. Somebody actually cast it against you?
Yes, it was fateful for them, I suppose.
That is
I would give Fateful Discovery. It's like a builder on D. It's really like an F, but you could maybe imagine if you have enough ways to make food and to play artifacts and stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, we're at a point where 5 mana draw 3 cards is just not a good card, right? So like 3 blue sorcery draw 3 cards, you would not be stoked about that card. That card would be like probably a D.
And that is like the dream for Fateful Discovery.
Yeah. How often is this going to be better than that? Clearly you can imagine how it could be better.
Yes. But no. Last blue card is the Lord of the Eagles. This is 7 blue for an 8/8 legendary bird noble at rare. It has flash, and it says it costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control with flying, and it has flying. So we have a 9 mana card that really, really wants you to have a flyer of significant cost on the battlefield. And if you do, you're getting a flash flying 8/8 for a significant discount. I mean, 9 mana, I would not pay for this. 8 mana, I don't think I would pay for this. 7, you're starting to talk, but even then I'm kind of like, eh. And anything 6 and below, I'm interested. Definitely 5. I mean, that's a nuts card.
Yeah, if you can
5.
play a 3 power flyer and then you play this for 6 mana, it's pretty big. This looks like a build around B. Like I'd be down.
Yeah. How many
I would say
flyers
most
do you
blue
have?
decks can probably use this, especially if you're drafting towards it. If you know you've got it,
Yeah. How many flyers do you have, and how much do they cost? And then Lord of the Eagles, and you should be able to pick it up late. Yeah. That'll move us to black. Our first card up is Golem Riddlemaster. This is 1 and a black for a 3/1 legendary halfling horror. It's mythic. And it says, as Goblin enters, choose odd or even. And it does remind you that 0 is even. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value of the chosen quality, choose one that hasn't been chosen. So if you name even and somebody casts a 2-drop, this thing will trigger and you get to choose one of these things that has not been chosen. The first one is put a +1/+1 counter on Golem. The second one is each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And the third one is draw a card.
Oh, yeah.
And that goes away on every turn, right? Like this is kind of a turn level thing, or does it stick
this
around?
Is just basically the max triggers you can get off this is 3. You choose all 3.
So they just add up over time. So he is destined to do all of the things if he stays on the battlefield.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
But you only get each of them once, and then then that's that.
Cool. That's really good. Those are all really good things. Clearly, the loses 2 life thing and you drain them for 2 is the least important, right? And the draw card's probably your first stop. Then you'll get the counter. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, that I imagine that's you're starting at draw, and then you're getting a counter, and then you're draining them is almost always going to be it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you'll get the counter first.
Because it'll enable an attack you maybe didn't have.
Yeah, or like, just whatever reason, like it really, pushes through a good attack or makes it so they can't attack you or something.
Right.
But most of the time you're just going to take your card. And obviously if they're at 2, you're just going to wait to try to do the lose life one.
Right. Right.
I
love it.
Oh yeah, this is a great card. I'm actually trying this in cube as well. This one looks like a pretty good one.
Yeah.
So if you played on turn 2 on the play, probably just name even because they're going to play a 2-drop. If they don't, you get to hit them for a bunch of damage.
And if on the draw, you'd probably name odd and just try to stifle their 3-drop, right?
Yeah, that's usually going to be what you want to do.
Yeah, I
would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you break down the way that decks are most commonly built, casting cost wise, is the like I would say that the combination of 2-drops plus 4-drops is roughly equal to the number of 1-drops plus 3-drops. If we put in the 5s and 6s in, of which there's usually only a small handful, my guess is that slightly on average odd, there are more odd cards in the average deck than even, but I would just do it situationally because I think that number is really close. This is just off the top of my head, by the way. I have no like we can ask Sirkovitz about that just out of curiosity. But yeah, I would do it how Louis said, where it's like if I'm on the play, I would name even and try to nab their 2, and if I'm on the draw, I would name odd and try to get a trigger off of their 3-drop. Yeah, I guess you could maybe try to line it up with the removal that you thought they may have, or that was the most common, so that if they do try to use the, I think
later in the game it gets a little bit more interesting, because later in the game, especially in a best 2 out of 3 match where you kind of know some of the cards in their deck, but even if you don't, you can just kind of think like, what are the cards that I think they're going to play or that I'm worried about, and then you can kind of go from there.
Yeah, that's really cool. I would give it a high grade. This card seems really annoying.
You're going to get probably 2 of the triggers on a pretty regular basis, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there is just a time where you go, I'm going to name even, and then they spend 3 mana to kill this.
Yeah, that can happen for sure.
I go B+ for Golem Riddlemaster. I can't quite feel out how.
No, it's not quite an A, but I think B+ is a good grade.
Especially if you can just get that card back. Next up is Inside Information. This is black X for a sorcery at Mythic Rare. It says exile the top X cards of target opponent's library. You may play those cards this turn. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than pay its mana cost.
Yeah, you basically get to Bolus's Citadel them for X.
Wow.
It's sweet.
Cool. So like 3, 4? 4 is like a sweet spot, maybe?
I would say 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's a pretty high variance card. Like if you cast this card, you could cast this card technically on turn 3 and flip a 5-drop.
And
you're
just
obviously
pay
not
5 life
cast,
and have it? Oh my God.
You're obviously not going to cast it for 1 mana that often, but X equals 1. But like if you cast it for X equals 3 on turn 5 and you hit 4-drop, 6-drop, and like maybe a brick or a land, even if you lose 10 life, like you're going to get presumably far enough ahead that you're going to be in decent shape.
Yeah. The interesting part, of course, because there's sort of 2 edges to this sword. On one hand, any time that you've been able to turn life into mana, it's basically broken. Like that is something that you almost always want to do. It always leads to like dumb stuff. The other edge of the sword, however, is that if you are being beaten down and you're like, oh, I just need a blocker, or I need a removal spell, and you rip Inside Information, you could find yourself in a spot where you're like, well, I can't really pay for any of these spells, so I just die.
Yeah, I mean, it is the kind of card that gets really bad really fast, right? Because once you're at less than 10 life, the ability to play the cards off this gets lower, and once you get less than 5 life, it's like almost does nothing. I guess it exiles a bunch of cards. I mean, for 10 mana, you exile 8 cards off their deck.
Like, that's true, and you don't have to pay any life at all, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of an interesting late game win condition. Like, if the game really does grind out.
Yeah, no, that is definitely something.
I do not know what to give this card for a grade. Even with that revelation, I would start off lower on it. It does seem so situational that you could find yourself really easily in a spot where it just wasn't very good. You just didn't have enough life total to really.
Yeah, the main risk is like, this costs a lot of life. Like there's no option to pay the mana. Like when you play this card, it's like you're paying life, you're not getting anything out of it. So it gets worse fast, especially in a fast format. So it probably is like a C, but it's going to have some high end. Like when this card is good, it's just going to be completely obscene.
It's completely busted. Next up is Supper for Spiders. This is 1 and a black for an instant at rare, and it says put onto the battlefield under your control all creature cards in your opponent's graveyards that were put there from the battlefield this turn. They are food artifacts with 2-tap sack, gain 3 life. Wait, what does that mean? They are? Does that mean that they're not creatures?
They're not creatures. So they'll have their ETB effects. They will have their like passives or whatever abilities they have while in play, but they are not creatures with power and toughness. So this looks like an F to me.
It's an F.
I'm not really digging it.
That is an amazing design. Like it's spider food. They're wrapped up. They're still there, but they're just waiting to die. It's really good, but the card's not. Next up is the Sackville Bagginses. This is 1 and a black for a 2/2 legendary halfling citizen at rare. And it says, when the Sackville Bagginses enter, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, draw a card and create a treasure token. And whenever you sacrifice a token, target opponent loses a life.
That's pretty good. I mean, you get to eat something, get your card, and then you get to drain them whenever you're sacking, that treasure or other tokens. Like it's kind of nice in a sack deck because you sack in a mass army to something, and then you get the trigger. So
yeah,
that much is nice too. I think the Sackville Baggins is a solid B.
Yeah, looks pretty good actually, especially if you
had this like a black green deck with some wood elves. It was fine.
Yeah, that seems fine. Armies, wood elves, etc. Next is Along the Crooked Way. This is 2 and a black for an enchantment at rare. It says, when this enchantment enters, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And whenever a creature card leaves your graveyard, amass goblins 1. Okay, so 3 mana. You get something back into your hand, and you get a 1/1 or add to your army. And then it has 1 and a black, goblins and orcs you control gain menace until end of turn.
So think about it as a 3 mana 1/1 Gravedigger that then also can give menace later.
Yeah. And
Totally
even
fine with
better
that.
because the activated ability actually stays on the enchantment rather than the creature. So you kind of just get to keep that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that card.
I'm in. I would give Along the Crooked Way probably like a B-, C+, something like that.
It's a reasonable 2 for 1 is, in that range. Next up is Azog, Moria's Ruin, Azog. 2 and a black for a 1/3 legendary goblin soldier at rare. And it says, when Azog enters, destroy up to 1 other target creature. Its controller amasses goblins X, where X is that creature's power. If you controlled that creature, draw a card.
So in that black green deck, I had the option of taking Azog, and I was already like a sacrifice deck. I had Sackville Bagginses. I had like 2 of the 1 mana and sack a creature
Removal.
I had like some wood elves. I had some amass tokens, and I looked at this and I'm like, this isn't that good. Like,
No.
let's say you play this and target your 2/2. Now you still have a 2/2 and you drew a card. Okay. And you target their thing, their 4/4 becomes a 4/4. I mean, it takes abilities off. So if they have like a good utility creature that kills it, but this looks more like a goblin someone tutors up in some constructed format because they have a tutor for a goblin card that is a removal spell. Like I wouldn't be shocked if that was some kind of usage or something, but I would say it's a C, maybe C+. Like it's fine. It just doesn't do anything that good.
Yeah, none of those use cases are that exciting. CC plus for Azog Moria's Ruin. Next up is Rovanian Rampager. This is 2 and a black for a 3/2 wolf. It's rare, and it says whenever this creature attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, put a number of +1/+1 counters on this creature equal to the sacrifice creature's power. And when this creature dies, amass goblins X, where X is this creature's power. I did face down one of these, and my opponent, it grew shockingly fast. I was like, wow, I guess I can't block it straight away. And then the next turn they attacked, they sacked another thing. And it was like, it really did kind of get out of hand, but it did not have any evasion. So I was able to kind of just stave it off. And it was susceptible to the type of removal that I had. I was playing blue. So, the bounce and the freeze, whatever, thing to remove the counters and all that. Like neither, both of those were pretty effective.
You never had to actually kill it. It never went to the grave.
Exactly. That said, most removal does kill. And, anything that just dies into, even in this case, a slightly better version of itself in some ways is kind of cool. And you don't have to sacrifice stuff to it, right? So that's optional.
Yeah, I mean, this card's clearly very, very good.
Yeah. It was like strong against me.
Yeah, I would probably give it like an A-. I mean,
yeah.
Even if you have no sack stuff, it's a 3 mana 3/3. It dies into a 3/3.
Yeah.
Isn't that like a B+?
Yeah, B+ right there. And then it has this extra stuff. Yeah. A- for Rovanian Rampager. Next is the Master of Laketown. This is 1 black for a 3/2 legendary human advisor at rare. It has Death Touch. It says whenever a player loses life, that player mills that many cards. And it says when the Master of Laketown dies, draw a card for each graveyard with 7 or more cards in it. I guess they couldn't fit Threshold on there somewhere.
Yeah, I guess like for each graveyard that has Threshold. It kind of like it works for both players. So you do get milled out.
Oh, really? I didn't see that. I mean, in a normal game of limited, the amount of cards in the library are going to be more than the amount of life total for most of the game. For the meaty part of the game.
Yeah, you're not usually dying because of something like this, for sure.
Right. If that's the case, I guess you can kind of ignore that part, or maybe it comes up and is an advantage every once in a while. And if that's the case, then this extra clause on this guy is fine. Like getting an extra card every once in a while, or sometimes 2. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to find ways that this isn't that good, and I don't think it is that good, but there's no knocks on it, right? I guess maybe it's 2 toughness for a relatively difficult to cast 3 mana. That's like the biggest thing I can say about it, because otherwise it seems fine to me.
Yeah, I think Master of Laketown's solid. I would give it like a C+.
Yeah, C+. Black card is Head of the Hunt.
God, I've lost this card twice so far. Is
already
absurd card.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it is 2 black for a 4/3 wolf at rare. It has flash. And it says, if a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. When you do, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. I also lost to this card now that I see it. Yeah, that card's a beating.
I mean, the way this card, I think, is going to play out most of the time is you're going to attack, and then they block, and then you just cast Head of the Hunt, and you make a 2/2 or maybe 2 2/2s, and it's just awesome.
That's exactly what happened to me, yeah. And then, every once in a while you can flash it in and eat a 2-drop or something like that.
Yeah, that can also happen too.
And then, and then there's also just the normal, like, it's turn 4 go, and then they do something, and then you're just like, end step, I have 4 more power than you thought I would.
I mean, all of these things together make it an A- for me. Like it doesn't need to make that much.
No.
For it to be good.
No, extremely annoying card. A- for it. Okay. Gold cards. First gold card is Bard's Company. It's 2 blue-white for a 2/3 human citizen at rare. It says if you may cast this spell as though it had flash if you control a human. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. And whenever this creature enters or attacks, recruit.
This card's
it's a lot.
Incredible.
That is a lot. That's a lot.
It didn't even need flash to pump, and it pumps all your creatures, not just the humans, even though it requires a human to have flash. And when you play it, it recruits, and then when it attacks, recruits. I don't know how often it's attacking because you don't really want to risk it in combat. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if the way is clear, the way is clear. I mean, 4 mana, 2/3 flash, make a 2/2. I'll pump your whole team, loot. I would give Bard's Company an A. It kind of does it all.
It just does it all. Next up, speaking of Bard, is Bard himself. Bard, King of Dale. This is 4 blue-white for a 3/5 legendary human noble archer. He's mythic. He's got reach and vigilance, and it says, if you would draw a card, except the first one you draw in each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. And if 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. So 6 mana, 3/5 with both reach and vigilance, which is okay. But then you get to double your tokens, and you get extra cards anytime you recruit or draw extra cards. Sweet. I don't know how good it is, but it's sweet.
Certainly looks powerful.
Yeah.
It doubles all your card draw and doubles all your tokens.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty big creature with reach and vigilance. I would guess it's probably the B. It's not like a bomb.
I think so
because
too.
You do need to do work after it. You're probably going to need to untap with it because you're not usually going to trigger it twice in the same, like right the turn you play it. But if you do untap with it, good things can happen. So I'll give
Very.
B for Bard and do a little work to try to make that thing work.
Next up is Bolg's Company. This is black-red for a 2/2 Goblin Soldier at rare. It says this creature has haste as long as you control another goblin. And you can tap this thing and sacrifice another goblin to add black-red to your mana pool. I'm actually not that impressed by this.
Yeah, I agree. I think that sacking armies for mana is like, I could see the appeal, but I just don't think that's going to work out that way in limited, where you just really want to sack another goblin for 2 mana. I just don't think most of the time that's going to be worth it. That, again, is more of a constructed card.
Right.
So,
and it's hard to have haste the turn that you play this, because you need to have either played it later than turn 2 or already had a goblin in play on turn 1.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a C just because it's a red-black goblin that has an ability that you would use some of the time, but it's not a card I'm going to go out of my way to try to pick up.
The Great Goblin is next. This one costs 1 and 2 black-red hybrids, so 3 mana total, and the 2 of it can be cast in any combination of black or red. It's a 3/2 legendary Goblin Noble at rare, and it says whenever you put 1 or more counters on a goblin, orc, or army you control, the Great Goblin deals 2 damage to target opponent. And whenever another goblin, orc, or army you control dies, exile the top card of your library. You may play it until the end of your next turn.
This is pretty good.
That is really annoying.
And whenever you amass, deals 2 damage to your opponent. So bing, plus other things that give counters. And whenever any of your goblins dies, you get to exile your top card. I mean, they're going to kill this one first if they can, but if they can't, the Great Goblin's going to live up to its name. I would give the Great Goblin probably a B+.
B+ for Great Goblin. That seems like a really good card. Next up is Smaug Wicked Worm. This is 3 black-red for a 5/5 legendary dragon at rare with flying. 5 mana, 5/5 flyer. When Smaug enters, create X tapped treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts your opponents control. Whenever you cast a spell, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, you draw a card and lose a life. So you're going to get between 0 and 1 of these treasure tokens normally.
But it's going to be a 5/5.
But it's still a 5/5 flyer, and you can also make treasures other ways. Smaug doesn't have to make them himself.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is going to be an A- mostly because it's a 5 mana, 5/5 flying. And then sometimes it'll do some other things that are decent.
Yeah. And there's enough equipment and random stuff around that you're probably going to pick up a treasure here or there. And you really only need 1. I mean, you turn it into a card. That's kind of crazy. A- for Smaug Wicked Worm. Next up is Chief Warg's Company. This is 1 black-green for a 5/3 wolf at rare with trample. What's the downside? This creature can't attack.
There is one.
Unless you control 2 or more other wolves. And at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. I am willing to accept these terms.
This card,
great.
This card's awesome. I mean,
That's amazing.
You would play this. Well, I would say you would play this as an enchantment, but that actually could be better in some ways because they can't kill it. But let's look at the passive effect, right? Until you've gotten your 2 other wolves, it doesn't do anything. Well, they're still going to kill it. So that part is it is a drawback, but it's not much of one.
Yeah, and also it's only can't attack. I mean, I don't think you'd really want to risk it, but you can block.
Yeah, no, that's totally true.
Dang. Wow.
I would give Chief Warg's Company an A. Every
too.
time I see this card, I'm just going to take it.
That is
great.
3 mana. That's a lot for 3 mana. A for Chief Warg's Company. Next up is Tom, Bert, and William. Are these the trolls? Yeah. 3 black green. I didn't know they had names. 3 black green for a 5/5 legendary troll at rare. And it says it has an activated ability. 1, sacrifice another creature. Draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power. Then discard a card. And it says when Tom, Bert, and William die, if they were a creature, return them to the battlefield. They're an artifact that is no longer a creature. That is sweet.
Really funny card. So 5 mana, 5/5, and you can sack a creature to draw, you draw 3 cards and then discard a card. That's still a great deal.
Absolutely.
And then when this dies, you just have that effect kind of active the rest of the game. That's awesome.
And there's no timing restriction on when you sacrifice this creature?
Yeah.
Like you could chump block and do it or wait for removal or...
Yeah, it is another creature.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think it'd probably be a little bit obnoxious if that was not the case.
Yeah.
But I would give Tom Burton William an A. It's just a really strong card to have access to.
That's fantastic. It's really funny too. Next up is Dane's Company. Red white for a 2/2 dwarf warrior at rare. It says this creature has lifelink as long as you control another dwarf. And it says when this creature enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a dwarf or equipment card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
I like this. I mean, it's gonna get lifelink a lot because it goes and finds another dwarf. It's not hard to have a decent amount of dwarves and equipment in your deck, and it's a 2-drop. It checks all the boxes. Helps with your. It doesn't actually help with the storied thing, I guess. Actually, right? Because it.
Well, I guess it could technically find an equipment or something, but yeah.
Yes, but it itself is not legendary. Still,
right.
I would give Dane's Company a B+.
Yeah, for sure. Build around B+, build around A-. I mean, this just seems like the ideal 2-drop for that archetype. Next up is Dwalin Weapon Master. Dwalin. One in a red-white hybrid. So 2 mana total for a 2/1 legendary dwarf warrior at rare with first strike. And whenever it enters or attacks, put a hone counter on each equipment you control. And it says each hone counter on an equipment grants +1/+0 to the equipped creature. That is cool. Sharpens up your axe for you.
In my axe, yeah.
2
minutes to first strike that's easy to cast. I'm already kind of in for that.
Yeah. In that color pair, it's effectively colorless 2 mana, 2/1 first strike, and then yes, you do need equipment. But that deck it has a lot of equipment payoffs, and it also has some equipment that are kind of freebies that you get on other cards anyway. So safe to assume that you're going to have some around. I like it.
I mean, I'd give Dwalin a B.
Yeah, and B for Dwalin on a build around, but I think it'll just kind of happen. Next up is Thranduil's Company. This is 2 green-blue for a 3/4 elf soldier at rare. It says, as long as you control another elf, you may play an additional land on each of your turns. And landfall, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, and it gains vigilance until end of turn. I've had this card already too. And 2 +1/+1 counters just for playing a land is a lot. Like that adds up really, really quick. And vigilance is actually nice too. This is a pretty fast format, and you can find yourself in race situations pretty often. And vigilance goes a long way when you have big creatures to being able to attack and block at the same turn cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you even need the extra land plays to have this card be good, though obviously that is a big part of it. Mm-hmm. The dream is play this on 4, play a land, immediately get the counters, etc. But even as just like a threat that every land is 2 +1/+1 counters, I mean, I would give Thranduil's Company probably a B.
Yeah,
but
B+,
I could see it going
build
higher
around.
than that. Yeah,
it's very, very solid. Just a few cards left. One more gold card. It's Thranduil the Elven King. This is actually one of maybe the only triple colored card in the set. It's 2 black, green, blue. So 5 mana total for a 5/6 legendary elf noble at rare. Thranduil has all activated abilities of all elf cards in your graveyard. And whenever another legendary elf you control enters, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. So 5 mana, 5/6 with kind of weird. Like this is one of those cards that's kind of hard to imagine because you're like, well, what are the things that I get to do with this with cards that are already in my graveyard? Probably not that much, right?
Yeah. What is this? What is this exact? What are you trying to do with this card?
Right. My guess is that this is a little too far down the build around path to make it great or worth it. I would probably, and remember, we are talking about splashing here as well. theoretically you're going to be green-blue in your Elves deck, so you're going to need access to black mana to get Thranduil in there too. And then legendary Elves, how many of those do you have in your deck besides this one? Maybe another one or two. And it's not completely out of control. It's nice. Draw 2, discard a card is very
If you got
solid.
one trigger on this, you'd feel very
good. Yeah. I would start off low. I would first off give it a build around grade only. And then on top of that, I would give it a build around like B. Seems okay. Has a little bit of potential, but I would not.
Think if you're either blue green or black green, splashing this is not like a crazy thing to consider. But yeah, I do think that it kind of runs into the problem of the abilities aren't really going to do much. So what exactly are you trying to do? Just playing a big 5/6 or whatever.
Right. Exactly. Wow. I had this next card. It's insane. The Arkenstone is next. Yeah. 5 mana for a legendary artifact at Mythic Rare. And it says creatures you control get +1/+1. And at the beginning of your end step, draw a card. So that is absolutely absurd. And that's colorless, by the way. So that's just like every deck wants this. It doesn't care what creature types you have, like completely nuts. And then it has even more. If you happen to be in white, you can play Seek the Heart, which is a sorcery adventure for 2 and a white. And it says, search your library for a legendary creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And that's really great. I mean, so many of the best cards in a set are typically legendary. So this could be 2 and a white, search up, if you don't have anything else to do, search up your very best card or second best card, because this is probably your best card. And then let's say your best creature. And then at some point play that and play Arkenstone and just overwhelm your opponent. I played this in a deck that didn't even have access to white mana and was still thrilled with it.
Yeah, of course. You do not need white mana for this card to be good. I think this card is just fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's an A+ pretty much in every deck.
This is one of the best cards. And especially in an environment like this where it's like heavily creature based and kind of core set vibes, this is the type of thing that can just completely take over a game. Next up is Glamdring Foehammer. This is 2 mana for a legendary artifact equipment at Rare. And it has an equip cost of 2. And it says instant and sorcery spells you cast cost X less to cast, where X is equipped creature's power. It also is an adventure and card, and it has Gleam of Death, which is 3 and a blue for a sorcery adventure. It says mill 6 cards. Then put all instant and sorcery cards from among them into your hand. I mean, this is a, heavy build around, right? It really needs to have instants and sorceries all over the place to make it work. And
yeah, if you can draw like 2 cards off Gleam, and then you equip this and you make something cheaper. I mean, I guess there is something there.
I think it's pretty bad. I mean,
it looks pretty bad.
The problem is that Gleam of Death is still a roll of the dice. You don't know what you're getting. It's not like search up this and then so that you can like put together this game plan. It's like, well, let's see what happens. You also must be in blue. Also, the equipment doesn't do anything else.
No stats.
Right. And if I were to tell you, Luis, I've got this really awesome spells deck. It's heavy spells. Like I'm doing the spells thing. And I told you, and the thing that's going to really pop it off is an equipment, meaning I now need some number of creatures. And then I also need to have my equipment and get it onto a creature. Like what? That is not how spells decks work. Like they want to have, they want to purposely lean away from creatures such that the only ones that they play are targets that are kind of not that juicy for the opponent and make it so that the opponent's removal sucks. This does the literal opposite. This is like, I've dumped all this mana. I played the creature. I played the Glamdring. I equipped the Glamdring. And now your removal looks actually good when it wouldn't have before. So this is a build around something, but I mean, to me, I would just give it an F. Like I don't plan on
I think it's closer to an F than anything else.
Yeah. Next up. Oh, my precious. 3 mana, legendary artifact equipment at Rare. It says equipped creature has hexproof and can't be blocked. And the equip cost is 2 and pay 2 life. It is, though, an adventure. It has Allure of Power. It's 1 and a black for an instant adventure that says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, But you do draw 2 cards.
So I don't think you'd play Allure of Power by itself, though it's not like completely crazy to consider.
Right. Yeah, with armies and stuff.
Yeah, but I think that that giving unblockable and hexproof on like is it good enough now that you have this ring that's giving you additional value?
Nah.
I still probably don't think so. Yeah.
I think the hard part is that the equipment part is kind of interesting, but the 2 life really adds up a lot. And it's not like they made the equip cost that much cheaper. It's still 2. I mean, unblockable and hexproof.
2 and 2 life is a lot. Wow.
It is. But man, I mean, if you have like a good example would be, let's say you have a couple of lifelink creatures in your deck. Well, now my precious becomes way better, right? I mean, you're kind of going back to the cleaver, stalker cleaver days or whatever from Innistrad or something, right? Where
where you put the butcher's cleaver on the invisible stalker and just go nuts.
And in this case, like imagine you have a 2 or 3 powered unblockable hexproof lifelinker. Like that is really annoying, and you're going to gain that life back. Difficult one to judge. I really would hope to have access to both sides of this card to make it work.
Yeah, certainly.
God, it would be annoying though. It really would. There's going to be games where they're like, they got a 5/5 and the board's kind of stalled out and they go, my precious, equip. And you're just like, okay, well now I'm just going to lose to that. Hexproof is a big deal. I hate it. I really like that they've gone to Ward over the past number of years. I think I would start off kind of in the middle. It's a little bit of a punt because I'm not really sure how this is going to play out. But if I can play both sides, I'd probably rate it at like the CC plus range. If I have multiple lifelinkers, I'd bump it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that it's probably closer to a D than anything else. But if you were playing black and you were more aggressive and you had some sack stuff, yeah, there's something there. It's not nothing.
Next up is Sting Bilbo's Sword. This is 2 mana for a legendary artifact equipment. It's rare. It's got flash. Kind of interesting. Its equip cost is 3. And it says, when Sting enters, put a hone counter on Sting for each creature target opponent controls. Attach Sting to up to 1 target creature you control. And then, yes, the hone counters are the same as that other creature. Each one on an equipment grants the creature +1/+0. Now, Sting doesn't do anything else on its own. So, you know, your opponent does need to have some creatures. If it has 3, then Sting's +3/+0, basically.
Yeah. And you get it, and then it goes away. And then you, like the creature trades, and then you can re-equip for 3 mana and get like another +4, you know, the +4/+0 or +3/+0, whatever it is.
Yeah, you know, I really don't like cards that rely on my opponent doing good things. Like ideally my opponent is having their creatures remove, combat trick, chump block. Like I know that not all games play out that way, but like I do like to at least assume that my deck is going to curve out and do things, and Sting kind of punishes you if you're doing really well. I don't really see how it gets you to come back if you're not. Like, let's say they have 6 creatures or something. And you're like, okay, Sting does make even small creatures very large, but man, equip cost of 3 is huge.
Yeah, and again, they're just trading. They're never like, you're never getting a massive advantage out of it.
Right.
Like,
I don't like Sting. I think they they could have done cooler with this, I think.
Yeah.
I like the mechanic. Like, that's really cool, but the card itself
I think if it gave some toughness or first strike, obviously if you just make it +X/+X or give it first strike, it's just
too good.
Way too much. But what I don't like about this is you play this in the situation where it's good. Let's just give them +5/+0. Well, now your creature, your 2/2 trades for their 4/4 or 5/5, and you pay 3 to re-equip. Like, you're just not even doing it. Imagine they have 2 creatures in play. It's kind of a joke of a card.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, you can come up with, I've got flyers or I have tokens and this thing can be my end game. But I just don't like that you don't know what it's going to do from game to game. And the better you're doing in the game, the worse it is.
Yeah.
I think I would just give it like a D for Sting Bilbo's Sword.
Yeah, I like D for Sting. It's just not a good card, I don't think.
I don't think so either. Next up is Orcrist Goblin Cleaver. This one's cool. This is 3 mana for a legendary artifact equipment at Mythic Rare. Now, the equip cost on this is also 3, so it's expensive, but get this. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has trample. And whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, choose a creature type. Create a treasure token for each creature you control of that type. Now, you don't get the first equip for free, so this is a commitment. But it's pretty cool. +2/+2 and tramples definitely turns like basically anything into a real must deal with threat over time. And they are heavily disincentivized from taking hits from creatures with this, because even if you only get 1 or 2 treasures, I mean, at the very least, the equip cost looks a lot cheaper if you can connect with this thing.
Yeah. Like I said, the trample really makes it not that hard to connect.
Right. I had this card once, and this was the card that gave my giant, great big bear or whatever it's called trample. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's it. They won the game really easy. That said, you don't want to go crazy, because this is 3 to cast, 3 to equip before you really get anything going. So it does ask kind of a lot. Like the scenario that we always bring up on the show is, well, what if your opponent were to kill the creature that you equipped the first time? Like, how do you feel? And it's pretty devastating. I mean, that could be a major reason that you lost the game. So you do have to be careful with it. But, if you put it on a creature that isn't necessarily your absolute best creature, or you find a window to play it and equip when your opponent doesn't have the opportunity to kill it, and you get the treasures and you can start kind of get things rolling, I think it holds its own for sure. I would give Orcrist Goblin Cleaver a B.
I kind of want to go a little higher than that, just because I feel like you getting 1 or 2 treasures back the turn you play this is going to make it. I mean, I can just imagine a game where you play like a 3/3 or 4/4 on turn 5. They tap out for something. You go Orcrist, equip, attack. You don't have a good block, or if you do have a trade, I still trample over and maybe get a treasure back or 2 or 2.
Yep.
And that could be really strong, especially if there's no trade there. If you just get to put this on your like 3/4, and now you have a 5/6 trample attacking past their 4/4 and making 2 treasures or 1 treasure, I would probably give Orcrist like an A-.
Okay. Yeah, I think that A- is too high, just because it's not baking in the times when it backfires on you. Like, for an A, for me to get to an A, I just need it to do something on its own every time, So that's why I have it a little lower. But that play pattern that you described, I did that multiple times, and it was very good. So there's definitely orc meat on the bone here for sure. Yeah, I just wouldn't quite get it to that level. Next up is the Lonely Mountain. This is a land mountain, not basic, but a mountain. It's rare. It taps to add red. And it says this land enters tapped unless you control an equipment. And it has an activated ability of 4 and a red, tap it, create a 2/2 red dwarf creature token. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each equipment you control, and you can only activate it at sorcery speed. But the notable thing here is that this does not say like sacrifice this and make a dwarf. Like this can be a dwarf factory if you can, especially if you can get it down a little cheaper.
Even if you don't, if you run out of stuff to do, make a 2/2 every turn.
Yeah.
And the drawback of it being tapped most of the time, let's say, not that high. This card's great. I would probably give this a B+.
Yeah, I like it.
I would play Lonely Mountain in any green deck, and I would be
any red
happy to take it even somewhat highly, especially, or it's red is what I meant, if you have equipment.
Yeah, agreed. And one of the reasons that we like to go higher on cards like this is because this is a slot that doesn't normally have a big impact. A land drop slot is one that's it's usually just there to make your mana. And this one can actually be a card that every once in a while will outright win you a game. I mean, seriously, if you just find yourself in a stalemate and you just go, okay, end step, make a dwarf, on my turn, make a dwarf, all of a sudden it's like, oh, my opponent's falling behind, and you can win. And that's on a slot that would normally just say taps for red. Last card, Elven Passage. This is another land. It's rare. It says activate ability, tap it, pay a life, sacrifice it. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. You may behold an elf. If you do, untap that land. And then, as a reminder, to behold an elf, choose an elf you control, or reveal an elf card from your hand. So basically, if you have an elf anywhere outside of the graveyard, you can have this land enter untapped. Otherwise, it is a,
Pay 1 life Evolving Wild.
Yeah.
You should still play this card in your non-elf decks if you have it in your pool. Even at 1 life, I think it's worth making your mana base better, but obviously it gets a lot better in elves. It's like a C- outside of elves, or C, and then like a C+ inside of elves.
Yeah, I agree. C+, depending on how many elves you've got. Well, that's it, Luis. There's no bonus sheet for this set. They really did keep it straightforward.
Yeah.
When we found out that we were going to be getting 7 sets in 1 year, and then when it kind of became clear that, some of them would be the smaller pick 2 style sets, this is kind of what I imagined. It's fine, right? Like, these cards are all interesting, and like you can tell that somebody put real effort into these. It doesn't feel mailed in, but it's also like not that interesting. It's a little kind of surface level, and it's hard to imagine drafting this for 3 months and being stoked to do that 100th draft on it or whatever. It's kind of filling in the gaps for what I thought that these things would be.
Yeah. Look, I think that we'll see what the depth of the format is. I don't think it's going to be particularly deep, but these cards do feel like Magic cards and Lord of the Rings cards. Like, I do think like Lord of the Rings is a good universe to go to when it comes to Universes Beyond.
Totally. And one of my favorites to visit. One other thing, Luis, I don't know if you noticed, but on Arena, countdown timer has already started to the first Arena Direct for the
Hobbit collector boxes, at least. Even opened the Direct this week. So there we go.
How does it feel to be a sheep that has run out of wool? Because they are hammering us, man. But yeah, I'm probably going to play a few of them. I won't lie. So maybe they've got a point on their hands. All right, that's going to do it for our rare and mythic rare set review for The Hobbit. We'll be talking about the format next week, how things are breaking down. There's only really 5 archetypes, so we should have a pretty good grasp on it next week about at least where we're at in the early runnings and see what's doing well, what's not, and what you should maybe try to explore in the format. If you want to find us on social media, Marshall_LR and Luis is LSV. You can find everything related to the podcast at lrcast.com. We want to thank our Patreon supporters as well as Ultimate Guard for their support of the show. It means a lot to us, and we really do say thank you. That's going to do it for this show. We're going to see you next week.
So the Settle the Wreckage kind of reminded me of that whole thing, and I wanted to lay out the story for those of you who haven't seen it, plus give you a little bit of a backstory, because the short answer is I cast Settle the Wreckage in the top 4 of the Pro Tour. The long story is a little bit more than that. So at the Pro Tour, Team CFB, we're all going to play, pretty much all of us, we're going to play this white weenie deck. Ended up being 6 in the top 8, though sadly I was the only one from our team. And it was just a very solid like white aggro deck, Banalish Marshall, basically mono white, splashing a few red sideboard cards. We had some like Sacred Foundries or what have you. And as it usually goes, we had about 12, 13 sideboard cards we really liked in the last couple. People could do whatever. We were talking about Settle the Wreckage, and this is before open deck lists got published. Because now when you go to a Pro Tour or even like a lot of the different kinds of constructed tournaments you could go to, like an RC or whatever, when you sit down for your round, you have your opponent's whole deck list, and they a variety of reasons to do that. I don't need to get into all those here, but that was not the case at this Pro Tour. So we started talking about, wouldn't it be funny if one of us played a Settle the Wreckage, and then everyone would play around it when they heard we had one, even though we only one of us had one. And I'm like, that's me. I'm that guy. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll play the Settle. I'm like, this sounds funny. This sounds goofy. It doesn't seem very good, but it's plausible. I would board this in the mirror, sure. I'll do it. I didn't have another 15th card I liked that much anyway. So I put the Settle in my sideboard. It doesn't come up. Most of my team gets eliminated. You keep playing. The rest of my team gets eliminated. I make top 8. Top 4, I'm playing against Jeremy Desani. We're playing the Mirror. And it gets to a point where I have an Adanto the First Fort. That's Legion's Landing. Once you flip it, it's a land that taps for a white, or 3 tap, make a 1/1 vampire. We get to a board state where it's clear he just kind of has to attack with everything, and he's got like an Aurelia, and all this stuff. I almost fumbled it because on my turn, when I was shuffling my hand, I dropped the Settle. I dropped the cards in my hand, but I was able to grab it back, and he clearly didn't see it, which was nice. As it turns out, I wasn't sure. he's deciding what to attack. It's clear he should attack with everything. I go pick up my vampire token, like I'm going to use a Danto to make a vampire.
Which costs 4 mana, by the way, like 3 in a tap. So like it is right there for Luis.
So as he's doing the combat math, I'm just kind of holding this vampire and just kind of like moving it around a little bit, just kind of looking. And he just slams with attacks with everything, which again, he had to do. The part that makes the story like a little bit worse is that it wasn't like I made some masterful play and tricked him. I didn't think I was doing that. He didn't think I was doing that. That's not what happened. Jeremy this was the play he had to make,
Wrong.
The reason I did that.
Listen to the commentary, okay? You'll find out exactly what happened.
The reason I did this is the reason I do most things. I thought it would put on a good show. Like, I didn't think it was going to cost me a lot. I didn't think it was going to cost me anything, actually, because I thought like his play was pretty much determined. If he didn't attack with everything, I think I was going to be totally fine. Like, it was going to be hard for him to win. And then of course he attacks. I fill the settle on the board, and like that's all that. You're in the booth with, I don't know who you were in the booth with. I don't remember. It wasn't Paul at that point.
I think it maybe it was Ian or something.
I actually think it was either Reed or Ian. It sounded like a Duke.
Yeah, like a Duke in the booth. But I will say, Luis,
I want your perspective.
Yeah, because if you watch it back, it was not an obvious attack from the outside. Maybe you knowing the matchup as well as you did and stuff. Like, Jeremy did not immediately attack. Like, he tanked for a while, right? Wasn't he sitting there thinking and fussing around with his cards and looking at his hand? Like, he wasn't like, well, if you have it, you have it. I have to attack here. I don't have a choice. Attack whatever. It was like there was a thought process where you're sitting there fiddling around with that stupid vampire token, and like there was a thought process on his side. I don't know what went into it. He's much better than I am and knew the matchup and stuff. So I would have to ask him directly, like, were you ever considering not attacking? Did Luis holding the token have anything to do with anything with it? We obviously played it up in the booth as kind of enticing, like, and this is one of those situations. This has happened actually multiple times for you and I, but the fact that I know you so well allows me to do a better job commentating. I saw what you were doing with it, and I was playing it up in the booth a bit, about, is he trying to get him to
you know
attack?
Me so well. You know the kind of stuff I get up to.
Yeah, that you're down for shenanigans, and that this is totally in your range to be like, yeah, just have this, and even take it. I mean, I kind of played it straight in the booth as far as like, is he trying to entice him in? But I mean, I know that you're capable of doing that, even if both of you are aware, right? Like, we're like, you picking up that token, if you're playing against me and I'm aware of the dynamic at play, it would signal to me that you're messing with me about if you have settle or not, right? Like, you picking up a token would have absolutely no like, oh, he picked up a token, he's going to make it. I would be like, you're just screwing with me to see if you have the stupid settle or not, But it ended up being one of the really fun, exciting moments, and it ended up kind of living in history. And you actually have that settle now, don't you?
So I actually don't.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
I thought Klug offered it to you or something.
No. Klug has the settle. Eric Klug.
Oh, Klug has the settle. Okay.
He has a cube of all cards that have won the Pro Tour. So every time a deck wins the Pro Tour, that's the pool of cards he can draw from. He doesn't add every card, but he chooses from them, and he chose to add settle. And he asked me if I would sign a settle. I'm like, actually, I can send you that settle. And he was like stoked for that.
That is so cool.
Then, and I didn't know he was going to do this, sent me a vampire token that is me. It's me drawn as a vampire token with a settle of wreckage background. So that is awesome.
That is too sweet.
I think we were both very happy with that exchange. I feel like I got the better of it, but I think he was pretty happy too. So I see settle the wreckage. Obviously, like, that is a thing. This is a side tangent, but I wish more professional Magic players would play things out. Would like, play a little for the camera. And I understand not everyone wants to do that. It's not in their nature. Some people, it would cost them match win percentage to be thinking about those things. I'm just always thinking about those things, and I like doing stuff like that. So it worked out, but I don't know. The world could use more kind of like showmanship rather than less, but it's no responsibility, of course.